Good evening. When they write stories about the careers of John Higgins and Mark Williams, Chapter 1 will start in 1992, the year they both turned pro at the age of 17. It was the year that John Major was in Downing Street, Bill Clinton was in the White House, and Right Said Fred were at #1 with Deeply Dippy. Well, happily, some memories fade, but the Scot and the Welshman are not fading away. And these 40-somethings have given us a nostalgia fest and the oldest ever lineup in the final of the Betfred World Championship.
What a reception these two great champions have had here. That's not a bad start from the Welsh potting machine. A bit Mark Williams special to clinch this opening frame.
Most people can be afraid of winning. Great champions are afraid of losing.
Excellent shot. Oh, he's in the pocket.
The good start continues for Mark Williams. 2 frames to 0. Decent long game this morning. Oh, great shot again.
He leads John Higgins by 3 frames to 0.
Not the best player in the world with the rest is John. Big shot now. Nope. It's not his favourite implement, there's no question about it. In goes the pink, and he leads the final 4 frames to 0. Good shot.
That's a fabulous century from John Higgins.
Yes, the path that you have travelled matters not. It's only the path that you're on.
And what about this for a positional shot? What a way to respond. 5 frames to 1.
Just starting to come alive now, this final, as we knew it would.
Has he got it? Of course he has.
And he closes the gap, trailing 5 frames to 2. This is risky. Oh, well done, great shot.
Mark Williams led 4-0, so John Higgins, he'll be pleased. He's 5-3 behind, though.
Well, a great air of anticipation here in the Crucible this evening for what should be a hard-fought and brilliant session of snooker. Alan, you commentated this afternoon. As a player, how did you see that session unfold?
Well, I thought it was very tight all the way, albeit Mark Williams went 3-0 in front. I thought it was very evenly matched. John Higgins made a big blunder in frame 4 for me. The green with the rest. I thought he should have been a little more streetwise than what he usually is. He
presented his opponent with an easy chance to win the frame, then 4-0 behind. The hole was getting deep, and he had to dig deep to actually get himself back into this match.
Yes, John, if he didn't come into this final with confidence like we know he has, I would have worried for him there, but winning the second mini session 3-1, I fully expected the fight back, and we got it. And 2 worlds are going to collide tonight. I can't wait.
He looked more comfortable at the end of the frame, like the old John Higgins. At the start, he looked a little bit shaky, didn't he?
He did, yes. I think when frames go scrappy with these two, I think Mark just has the edge, but I think John has the scoring power to counteract that. We're in for a close one again.
Mark Williams, specialist in winning frames that are scrappy, but Mark Williams also, in that session, as he can do, can win frames as if he hasn't got his foot to the floor, and that's a great art, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great weapon to have. He's had it throughout his career. He's not scored the weight of centuries that perhaps John and Ronnie have, but he certainly knows how to get the job done.
It's impossible to predict what's going to happen, actually, in the session, but you expect, I think, perhaps a higher level tonight?
I think so. I think Markle, by the way, I think he'll have to up his levels, because I know John will play well tonight.
OK, well, the players are backstage, as is Ken Doherty. I'm sure it's tense there, Ken.
OK, well, here we are backstage in the Crucible, in the hallway. It's normally very nervous down here, but these two players, look at them, have a look at them. Nice and relaxed. Mark Williams here, looking at my name, 1997, believe it or not. And here was a certain John Higgins, won it straight after, beat me in the final. And this man, again, beat me in the final. 2003. How did you do that?
Always fancy beating out Ken.
And of course, Dennis Taylor down here, he won it in 85. I don't know whether he's mentioned it this week or not. Maybe a few times. Anyway, the boys are ready. This is the most important one now, 2018, and we see a little question mark there as well. But the boys, normally it's very nervous. I can't believe how relaxed it is. It's like going out for a bit of practice. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready? You're ready, Ken.
They're both ready. Let's get it on. Rob Walker, it's over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second instalment of drama of this year's Betfred World Snooker Championship final. And what a monumental matchup this is turning out to be between two of the all-time greats who've won 50 ranking titles between them. A very, very special night unfolding here live at the Crucible. Please welcome a player who has embarked on an incredible run this year in Sheffield. 12 months after failing to qualify and contemplating retirement, he's back in the final for the first time in 15 years. And what a start this afternoon, showing all that class over the last 2 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, he will be fired up tonight in his own inimitable style. Here comes the pride of Wales, Mark Williams. And his opponent, a player who has also been producing his best here for 2 decades. From 4-0 down this afternoon, he showed all the class that has taken him to 4 world titles so far. He will dig deep tonight, as he always does. He's the pride of Scotland. He's the Wizard of Wishaw, John Higgins.
Well, this afternoon's first session had everything. A lightning-fast, confectionery-fueled start from Mark Williams and a resolute recovery after a big shock to John Higgins' system. What will we get tonight? 9 frames to play, and we'll share them in the excellent company of 2 major winners, John Parrott and John Virgo. Good evening, gents.
Good evening, Hazel. Good evening, everybody. And the 2 players shake hands.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Frame 9, Mark Williams to break.
And I think if that old phrase, John, form is temporary, class is permanent, then this is the answer to it, this final.
Nothing more true, John, than that. 2 wonderful players who have got themselves to another world final. Incredible. But then again, when you see what attributes they have, maybe not that incredible. Wonderful match players, great temperaments. I mean, can anybody more laid back than Mark Williams coming into a major final? Incredible.
Yeah, he's a one-off, is Mark. Long pot success. Well, John Higgins at 50%. And didn't see the value in taking that red on, because he wasn't certain to be on a colour and it was risky. So just probably thinking I'll just play my way in this evening, because it must have been a shock to the system to be 4-0 behind and 5-1.
Yeah, didn't really get out the blocks, did he, opening session? Don't suppose it was being tired or anything. It was just one of those sessions, he just maybe a little bit nervous and didn't really get going.
Well, spotted the double. Clever shot, as you'll see with Mark Williams, but this is a tricky black. Just a bit high.
Mark Williams, 1.
As I say, tricky black. But once he'd got the double, was forced into it, really. So close. I think John thought it was in for a second.
I tell you what, that's a big shot in the frame as well, John, because if that goes in, and you see it just catching the near jaw, he purposely left it on the black where he'd pot it and go straight into the pack, so that was a huge shot. I didn't think that was on, to be honest with you.
1.
He may have ended up snookered on both, pink and black. If he's landed in the one spot there, well, he can swerve this to pot it. And he's just looking to see if he swerves it with a little bit of side, will it come off the cushion and it can go between the pink for the red. And there's Manchester United footballer Michael Carrick, John, somebody who you'll know very well, being a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. One of Manchester United's all-time greats. There's no doubt about that. And he's retired, but he's going to be on the coaching staff. And talking about Manchester United, all our thoughts go out to Sir Alex. Hope he's on the way to recovery.
Mark Williams, 8.
That was an excellent pot from Mark in the middle there that he chipped in, but you couldn't believe where he finished. Just needed anything really on the black. It was a brilliant chance, as I say, with it being over the corner, he could have played the shot to go straight into the pack and open them up.
That's John's luck. He's got a clear run to the reds just below the pink. Needs a good cue ball though. A couple of reds may be possible. Ooh, he's caught this much too thin. That's a miss hit.
He may have been fortunate as well, because he's left Mark horrible cue in here. Got to be very careful when you follow through. The cue doesn't touch the red. Yeah, there was a lot in that shot to think about. Not only was it extremely difficult cueing across the table, he had to keep his eye on the fact that when he followed through, there wasn't any contact with the red he was closest to, so it was a big shot.
Yeah, and he had to play it that way. If he'd have played it with pace, he'd have probably kissed the red near the top cushion and been on nothing, but it's a reprieve for John. And how many times do we see it? You play a bad shot, you think it's going to cost you. Next thing, it's cost you nothing and you're back at the table with a good chance.
Six. Seven.
Well, off the jaw. I think you may have missed that at one point.
Yeah, it was a type of shot coming off that left-hand jaw as we look. He could have lost the cue ball, but he's okay, nicely on the black. Just screwing back a fraction to leave room for the black to go back on its spot.
40.
There's no doubt, John, that John Higgins has shortened up his cue action slightly He came in the studio the other day and said he'd seen something on one of the BBC coverage programmes that when he was playing, Jackson was a little bit on the long side, even for him. So he's shortened it up a touch. A bit more compact, a bit more control. And he certainly started to score when he did it.
That's okay, he's got a red to the right middle.
22.
Always amazes me with John Higgins, and Stephen Hendry brought it the other day, how far the tip of the cue is from the cue ball when he addresses it. Most players are almost touching the white. Well, one eye on the cannon.
John Higgins, 22.
One eye on the cannon, took his eye off the pot. But what has he left? First glance, nothing.
Many qualities you need as a snooker player, and patience is certainly one of them. Mark Williams has just got to hope for a better opportunity there, and also when John mishit the safety shot and left him pretty awkward.
This is a wonderful arena, and the setting, well, we've been here now 41 years and it just never fails to bring out a bit of emotion. He's taking this red on. Feels the only one he can leave is the one he's playing. Great pot. Wonderful shot.
Yeah, can't cue one better than this. And of course, where he's finished on the back is absolutely perfect for a little stun up. Red at the back of the cluster definitely goes. So, from nothing, he's created a chance. That was an excellent opening red.
8.
When he pots this red, he'll release another one to the opposite corner. Purposely leaving himself
9.
low on the black. He's got an angle to go into them. But if he just played a cannon on the loose red that's to the left of him, he'd have a red to the opposite corner to the black. Depends how he feels, whether he feels as though he can guarantee the cannon on the loose red.
Good shot. That was a nice little spin up there. I think that red you were talking about, John, probably
60.
a little bit tight, wasn't it? So he decided, I'll take the cannon and take my chances. Played it well.
Yeah, it's worked out okay. The only downside, you would say, is a little bit closer to the cushion than he'd like to be. But that was a good
70.
shot. And he's got a nice angle on the black. You feel just one good positional shot here, and the 30 points he needs to get to snooker's required stage will be there. But it's just one more good positional shot.
And he hasn't played it.
24.
I think he was trying to stun up the other side of the reds there. Just got into the cue ball a bit much. Trying to play for the red in the opposite corner, but got into the white a little bit too effectively. And now it's just a safety. So he's got a 40, he's got, well, I should say 35-point lead, but he's had 3 chances already in the frame. Not really put it to bed yet. It should be a little bit worrying.
Yeah, he doesn't want to overcomplicate this third shot. Well, it looks like he's going to play safe into the top cushion and just put a red safe and the black safe, or
John
in a
Higgins,
safe-ish
24.
position. So always thinking not to put the disappointment of the poor positional shot behind him, but this frame's still well and truly on.
Yeah, he sacrificed there. More or less would have known he could be in trouble. And Mark Williams hasn't quite got enough on the cue ball, but there was a chance there he could have been right behind the brown. John still thought it was worth playing to try and get the black safe.
Taking this on. Oh no, he wasn't. You fooled me, but now he's played it as he has. He maybe wish he had it done, because he's definitely left the red to the left centre, containing safety, but it's not worked out.
There's a brilliant pot in the middle pocket.
One.
And the only downside is if he's come straight, this was wonderful cueing from Mark Williams. Not a lot to look at there in those middles, John.
Yeah, and I suppose we can see the value of John Higgins. If the black had been on his spot here, we could be saying that this is a great chance of steal, but as you say, a bit too straight on the black. Trying to force the cue ball out. Well, he's done very well. Needed a bit more side, but I don't think he wanted to risk playing with too much side. So, another good pot needed.
Good pot played. Excellent. And this is a really dangerous table now for John Higgins. Yes, I know there's lots of pressure on it, and we see these players are that good, we think they're going to clear up every time, but this is a very dangerous board for him at the minute.
30.
The reds are all in the open, with the exception of those two, which will easily come out with a cannon somewhere along the line. So this is a very
40.
good chance for Mark Williams, and an extremely important one, John.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, John Higgins has already had 3 chances, but it will a lot depend on this shot. He's looked to play a cannon on the red just to the left of the pink to hold, but he needs to catch it full in the face. Just about there, he's perfect.
What an absolutely wonderful touch he's got.
90.
I mean, if that shot goes wrong at end of break, he's hit it plumb. As I say, once he gets
20.
this black, the next red, the black is perfect for a stun up into the two stuck together. Although he wasn't expecting that big bounce off the cushion.
Yeah, he seems to get a big bounce off the other side cushion as
27.
well, so whether he's just maybe pushing the cues through a little bit firmer, because obviously there's tension out there.
28.
He could have done with being a little bit straighter, so cannon on the 2 reds, trying to bring them into play. Oh, once again played it beautifully. We have a new favourite for the frame now.
35.
Yeah, lovely touch.
36.
Perfect world, you'd get the green back up on its spot, make it easier.
And I think that's what he played for, John, and he's just under-hit it. He was able to control the cue ball nicely. Now 2 points ahead.
39. Could
have done a tiny bit more on the cue ball there. He's got a little bit too much of an angle. Don't think he can drop the blue in without getting the cannon on the yellow. It's very close. He just plays the drop in. If he can, that's what he'll play.
Yeah, because it looks like the yellow will pass the brown into the far right corner. It's all about line and length. Good line. Perfect length.
45.
He's taken these well, hasn't he?
This is absolutely
47.
vintage Mark Williams. This is what he's always been exceptional at, John, when he was winning tournaments.
Yeah, and he'll be a little bit disappointed there. He let that cue ball run through a couple of inches. John Higgins will be there wondering about the chance he's missed. Mark Williams needs green, brown and blue to take the first frame of this second session. But he's okay
50.
now.
Yeah, and even that was a better shot than it looked when you got that extension on the NDQ with the extra weight. Very easy to get into that cue ball too much and screw back. But he played it beautifully.
$54.
This blue to go 22 points in front with just 13 remaining. Excellent snooker this from Mark Williams. John Higgins had 3 chances, and you might say had a run of the ball. First chance Mark Williams has got, he's won the frame.
65.
And looks in marvellous touch. Good start from Mark Williams. He won't be worried whether the cue ball goes in the middle or not.
72 in the frame.
The family are happy. John Higgins needs to pick up his game. 3 chances and not taken. Mark Williams now extends his lead to 3. 6 frames to 3.
Yeah, first blood this evening too. The Welshman and Ken, a fantastic break, and the foundation of it was that pot to the middle.
Yeah, he must be one of the best middle pocket potters that we have ever had in the game. And have a look at this. It's not only such a tough shot into the middle and such an acute angle, but perfectly on the black, and played a really good break there. Not only get black to red state, but then a couple of beautiful little cannons. I mean, his cue ball wouldn't be on a string like John Higgins's would, but what he does, he has a wonderful touch, as John Parrott said, and just to keep that break going, it was a magnificent break.
He's very effective without looking effective.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And actually, one thing that John Parrott was mentioning this afternoon when he was doing some demonstrations was that John Higgins has spotted that he felt he was pulling his cue back too far for the shot, for the weight of delivery of the shot. But it's something I spotted with Mark Williams. I think Mark Williams is pulling the cue back shorter distance than he had to a few years ago. So he's very compact, and he's hitting through the ball positively because he's not pulling the cue back too far. And when he hits it, he's punching it rather than stroking it. Yeah. And on fast tables, you don't have to have that long a pullback. And he's stolen a frame from John Higgins there, who would be not happy that he's given away gilt-edged chances, three chances, as we said.
Exactly, 3 chances not converted by John Higgins. Yeah. Very, very seldom.
You could see him. He was steaming in his chair there as Mark Williams was clearing up. That was a chance missed for John Higgins.
Just a reminder, there's going to be 9 frames played in this session. And John Higgins goes back to his seat with a wry smile on his face. That's not a good break-off shot. Just not found his touch yet.
Yeah, I love this shot and the break, John. This one, absolutely perfect. To hit that red full ball, it was end the break if he missed that. Beautiful little shot.
Took the harder shot, or the harder pot if you like. But can John Higgins get past the blue? The way he's looking, I think he can. He's coming down to see the availability. Well, can he? On our virtual look, it seems as though he can't. He's having to play a little bit of swerve. This is missable. Well, that was missable. He'd be relieved to see the cue ball nestling into the cluster.
Yeah, you had to play that slower than that, didn't you? Once you hit it that hard, the swerve wasn't going to come back. See, the cue ball goes out, not enough time for it to swerve back in. I'm very fortunate to stick in the side of the pack.
Yeah, decent cue ball. Now this will be a test for John, because a couple of safety shots he played in the first frame of this session, he caught them much too thin, didn't really hit them. Played a break-off shot, didn't really hit that well. Needs to be finding that baulk cushion, particularly against the potter of Mark Williams' quality. So there's pressure on this. And that's why once again he played it containing, but he's not hit it right at all. Okay, he probably left a red that Mark won't be tempted with, but that's certainly not like he played it.
Well, this is brave. This is a horrible shot. Cut back in the corner, no idea where the cue ball's going, and you need to cue it well off the cushion.
I question that shot selection, John, because as you said, particularly under the cushion, it's hard to generate the pace, even if the red had gone in. Look where the cue ball finished. Can't get to the one that's just away from the pocket. I'm going to play this one near the top cushion, hoping to go up for the blue probably, or pink. And it went.
I was about to say, John, it was right touching the cushion that. It needed putting. It looked easy at first glance, but it was very close to the cushion that, and it just about wobbled in. Sounds ridiculous that you could miss one of those, somebody of John's capabilities, but they can be missed. Just feel as if he needs to make a frame-winning contribution with one of these chances just to settle down this evening. As we mentioned, he had 2 or 3 chances in the opening
6.
frame, didn't take them. Just needs to get his scoring boots on.
Seven.
Mind you, I'm saying that, John, in one of the sessions with Kyron Wilson, in the 8 frames, his highest break was 37, if you can believe that. But he came out of the session 4-4 with him. So it just shows you the quality of his match play.
15.
That's what his B game's like when it's not all firing.
Yeah, but I think those type of frames against a young player like Kyron, you'd always fancy John in the tactical side. But Mark Williams can match him in that. And I agree with you, this is a big visit.
20.
Just to settle him down.
$23.
The 2 reds adjacent to the left corner pocket, I think. Well, at least one goes, so he could stand up for one of those here. Which he's done it now. I assume the right hand one goes as well.
30.
Yeah, this is a really quite a nice chance because he's got obviously 2 or 3 loose reds, but he's also got a lovely cluster,
31.
the 3 next to the pink. If he gets on the blue at one point, or indeed off the pink, he can split those up. He's having a look at the pink now, but it's one of those that'll be absolutely lovely coming in there off the blue. So he's taking it this way with the pink, slightly stretching. There you go, flicks the 3 reds out into open play. Even better chance.
37. Yeah. I did hear what he said.
Now, what sort of an angle has he got on this black? He doesn't have to play any more cannons. Yeah, not sure. It's one of them situations you wouldn't mind it being straight. But he's just off straight. Got to cue this nice. Well, he's gone a little bit twixt and between.
45.
Just looking for another 25 points at this visit to get to snooker's required.
Taking the slightly trickier red in the left-hand middle. Couldn't really generate any pace. It was such a tricky pot, that. So he's slightly wrong on the blue. Is the cue ball going to pull up?
Well, applause, but it's a bit
51.
further down the table than he wanted. He may still have a pot on, but it's not as easy as he was looking for. Still looking for 3 more reds. No, it was tricky, that.
John Higgins, 51.
Yeah, it's not an easy shot, that, trying to screw down and up the table off it. Shot before was the one that was the costly one. And a big area really off the blue for John to play into.
Well, that was, once again, when you play it with that page, you've got to be so accurate. And as soon as John walked to the table here, something was interesting him. 3-ball plant. And you know, John, it looks on.
It looks absolutely plumb, John, doesn't it?
It does. When the second 2 reds are very close together, you've got to hit the first one bang in the middle. But at first glance, and looking again, looks unmissable.
Well, I'd be amazed if he doesn't take it.
Well, maybe. Well, they say the camera never lies, but...
The only thing I can think of is the second red in the line of 3 is just on the other one, touching the other one. Maybe he thinks that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Mark's having a look at it. And I think Mark would be of the opinion that it could be, so he won't be leaving John a chance of possibly playing the plant from the balk end. Okay then. That plant's still there then. I mean, in that virtual thing, I mean, it looks on, but you know better when you get down behind a shot, obviously. No, just nestling into them.
Yeah, it is touching the other red, John. And that one didn't touch your red either.
No.
Mark Williams, 4.
Ja, du ist.
He's not asking the referee to replace it, is he?
From there? From there?
Yeah, the referee, Brendan Moore, would be pleased that you said from there, Mark. He won't want to replace in that. I suppose that's the problem with John with this type of shot, because he cues so far away from the cue ball. It's this delicate shot's difficult.
That's a good point, John. It is very unusual. That I can't think of any other player in the professional ranks who cues up like that, I have to be honest with you.
Well, that's opened the Reds up. Mark Williams hoping to get the next chance. You feel if John Higgins gets it, he'll be frame over. And possibility of cutting this red to the right middle. Well, no, just decided to knock it safe, so he's putting a few insurance balls to the cushions. Don't want to take any undue risks. He's trying to protect that 47-point lead. Tried it in the last frame, didn't work.
That red that's in the balk area that John's ignoring. It's going to play some part in this shot, because if John Higgins thinks he's found a shot to nothing somewhere, or he's having a look now, I wonder what shot he's come up with there.
Yeah, there's that red that's just up and to the right of the black. Only problem is you've got to be careful he doesn't run into the red near the left-hand side cushion. Well, he's avoided that, but by playing it that way, well, he's left the red he played. Not striking the ball well so far this evening.
Well, it's also a bit strange, John, isn't it? Because he's played the shot before to put a red on the cushion to try and keep it as tight as possible, and then follows it with that shot. It's not like John at all, that one.
One.
Anyway, it's gone. Left by your decisions. If Mark Williams can, after potting his excellent red, can knock the blue in, big chance certainly to get back in the frame.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a tall order to win it at this visit with the reds near the side cushion.
6. Seven. $14. 50.
Right, he's hitting the ball this evening, Mark Williams. It really is just like him at his best. Floats around the snooker table like nobody else.
22.
Economy of effort with the cue ball. Doesn't hit anything hard. Except for that one he missed. Now, was that a kick?
Mark Williams, 22.
Well, I didn't expect him to miss it, to be honest with you. Let's have a look. Well, there's a bit of a jump, but when you're playing that top spin, you get the balls jumping. We'll see it a lot when we get this super slow-mo watching it. It's amazing how often the cue ball leaves the bed of the table. But it looks as though he's had a little bit of a reprieve by covering that red with the black. John Higgins now just trying to cover the red in the balk end, or leave the cue ball parallel with it, so you can't play a good safety off it. This was the shot before. Yeah, you see where the cue ball stopped on impact. Yeah, played that well.
Yeah, just a clever little shot from Mark there. Just chipped the red cue ball opposite so he couldn't see it, the one in the baulk area. John may be forced into a pot here. He was, and he needs a bit of luck.
Yeah, the brown was blocking the pocket for the pot, so John was a little bit fortunate. The significance of this session this evening, 9 frames, somebody's going to win it. Stands to reason 9 frames, an odd number. With Mark Williams already holding a 2-frame advantage when we come into this evening, you just feel that John Higgins' goal was to try and win this. Mark Williams looks the steadier of the two.
Well, if I said in the last frame that it was ripe for a clearance, this one definitely isn't. And John Higgins won't be in a hurry to remove those reds. Okay, it's only a 25-point lead, but the way the balls are, that's quite a big lead. This will most definitely be the longest frame of the match so far. 21 minutes in frame 2 is the longest frame they've played, so that'll be going past that in a minute.
It was a half chance. Mark may consider this red worth taking on. The only red he could leave is the one he's playing. But both players at the moment got a touch of the nearlies. And every time a red's missed, it seems to go to a cushion. This is a bit loose. Well, maybe the pink's just covering it. No luck from Mark. So just intent on getting this red away from the cushion. Possible double. Treble. Oh! Where did the cue ball nearly go?
Well, it nearly went in there, and he's angled on probably 2 reds, John. He may have to be forced into the 3 reds on the left-hand side, so that cue ball finishing where it has done, stuck on that jaw, is making him play this shot.
Well, got us what Dennis Taylor said, a dreaded double kiss, but that's a good double kiss.
Slowly but surely, though, the balls are coming out into open play. Just a 2 now over on the left-hand side. So Mark Williams showing all the patience. He was quite happy before just to chip the balls on the cushion himself, despite being behind. Just as I say that, another one runs up the cushion.
Yeah, but once again, it was a half chance from John Higgins that he didn't really get close to.
He's in trouble here, Mark. This is what he's got. Can't see those 2 reds there. He can only play the ones down the left-hand side. Not easy to get back to the balk area. Unless you play it with a loaded check side and hit it that well.
Wonderful shot. As you say, John, that was difficult. And a little tap on the table from John Higgins. Just coming up to 24 minutes and can't see an end in sight.
John's going to play this, and he doesn't like it because he's going to hit it thick. He's got to hit it thick to have a go at the pot and to avoid the red on the right-hand side. The 2 reds that are to the right of the black, he's got to avoid the right-hand side one. Brilliant. Oh. Fabulous pot.
Williams full.
Yeah, and of course he always knew the cue ball was going close to the opposite corner. Goes the upside for John. He's got another red off the table, even though it's cost him 4 points. Saw the scoreboard there. Mark Williams has got to get the next chance, you feel. If John Higgins gets it, he'll win the frame.
Some good stuff at the minute. Mark's trying to get the balls into play and trap John. John's having none of it. He certainly won't be moving the 2 reds on the left-hand side cushion, that's for sure. 3 reds on the left-hand side cushion. It's an excellent reply from Mark Williams. Really good tactical stuff from 2 masters.
Yes, he can clearly get through to the reds on the left, but he's swerving around the yellow to hit this red. Don't want to bring one of those reds away from the cushion. Control swerve. But he'll have left this on. But look at the table. You can't fancy Mark Williams winning the frame at this visit.
What a brilliant try that was. Played the red with pace, up off the top cushion, trying to come down and split the reds. And just got the bump. Very clever shot.
Yeah, and if he hadn't just caught the pump, I think he may have well brought 2 reds into play. as it is. The pot on the pink, too risky for no reward.
Mark Williams 1.
Just at the moment, Mark's in control of this safety exchange. $20 points ahead, John Higgins, 51 remaining.
Just wondering, he's trying to play a little bit of a shot to nothing. Red across the table. Cross double type shot. Here it goes. Good effort, but look at the cue ball. Excellent.
Yeah, just signs in the last few safety shots that John Higgins starting to hit it a little bit better. Where's the cue ball going? It's good now.
Don't think he'll take the chance of moving the reds away here, Mark. Well, he did. He could play it. So there's 2 back in play out of the 3. And the one that's on the left-hand cushion for a left-hander isn't terrible. Yes, it's in an awkward position for potting, but it's a lot better when you're left-handed. So from looking totally unpromising this frame, if Mark Williams gets the next chance, it is a chance.
I think if that red wasn't on the left-hand side cushion, John Higgins may be tempted to play the pot here, but if he missed it, he could knock that red away from the cushion. This is pacey. In and out of balk. So Mark Williams, he's going to get that half chance, but good pot needed. Well, there you go. All that tactical stuff, and then you feel Mark's got a half chance. Never take those reds for granted. Misses it. And John Higgins now. 2 reds, 2 blacks to get to Snooker's required.
Yep.
1.
He'll be more than a little disappointed there, Mark Williams. He worked very, very hard to get that opportunity. Some tremendous tactical play. The balls were awkward. He finally was presented with his chance. It wasn't easy, but he'll be kicking himself he didn't take it there. Looked like he had absolutely no chance of winning that frame.
No, half an hour of determined effort from Mark Williams, but if John Higgins can pot this red, another black, he'll go 36 points in front with just 35 remaining. It's in, and he's on the black.
Yes, and I'll be concentrating like mad to get right behind this red. It's only 1 snooker at this level, and that isn't a great deal. So absolutely dead weight.
60.
Drop it into the jaws of the pocket and let's see it disappear. Because what you don't want to do is give yourself 15 or 20 minutes of aggravation. Attempted snookers by your opponent. So it's in.
17.
Yes, as you say, no heroics. That'll keep Mark Williams in his seat.
Any chance of you turning that off, please?
As the dreaded phone starts.
24.
Anyway, fortunately it didn't matter. The frame was over. And Mark Williams will stay in his seat or get out of it just to go to the...
24 and the frame.
For a comfort break as does John Higgins, but John Higgins will be mighty relieved to get that frame on the board. So now he's still 2 behind, but he started to strike the ball better near the end of that frame.
Yeah, we don't see John Higgins with many weaknesses in his game, but I want to show you one. It's obviously with the rest, you've probably heard me talking about it. Part of the problem is when you're playing a shot with a rest, watch this right arm. It's a bit like a pendulum. You want to catch the cue ball in the middle of these feathers here. So what I'm going to show you, I've got a couple of cue balls, a couple of reds. The way John feathers, excuse me, he's too far back from it. You see it there? So by the time he delivers, he's kind of searching for the cue ball. What he wants to do is get up nice and close like that, yeah? Nice and close with the ball. And then he can release them there. What he gets from that is more control and more power. I think it's something John Higgins could be working on, because in frame 4, it cost him today.
Yeah, one of John Higgins' very few weak spots. But you've got to say, Steve, we were talking about this, you must convert your chances against Mark Williams. In essence, why?
Well, at any level, really, at a top-class professional level, the players are so good, even if they're 50, 60 points behind, they can clear up on you. So, therefore, when you get a good gilt-edged chance at the start, you'd like to make a frame-winning contribution. And John Higgins hasn't done tonight. He's let the balls go astray. First frame, Mark Williams converted that chance he got. He didn't get away with it a second time, so he didn't get it. So, John Higgins would be much preferring to win, like, 70s and 80s and winning in one visit.
Exactly, because
it's more his style.
Yeah, well, exactly. And Mark Williams is a great hooverer-upperer of scrappy frames, is he not?
He certainly is, yeah. But I just love the cat and mouse games, the tactics from both players, because they're both at the top of the game in that department as well. And it's quite interesting. John can mix it with anybody, and Mark Williams can certainly mix it with anybody as well. Master tacticians.
It's kind of degrees of greatness that we're playing for here, aren't we, in this final? I mean, they've been there, they've done it all, really. It's Williams is after a fifth, and Williams is after a third, I beg your pardon, and Higgins is after a fifth, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're both great champions. They can both play with lots of with pressure heaped upon them and still pot the balls. But they're great thieves of frames they shouldn't be winning, and that's it's quite fascinating to see how they go about that.
Yep, it's been a great final so far. So back out we go. We've got a long way to go this evening, but this is the third of our evening. That last one was just over half an hour, so plenty to enjoy between now and, well, who knows when.
Thank you, frame 11. Mark Williams to break.
Frame 11 underway, and just looking back at those first two frames, John, I think Mark Williams was probably, I know he's won one of them, he may be a little bit disappointed he's not taken both of them.
Yeah, he certainly created a chance in the last frame from, well, a pretty forlorn position. As I say, the balls were horrendously awkward, weren't they, on the cushions, but he just showed tremendous patience and tactical acumen just to get himself a chance near the end. He didn't take it. It was a pot that he missed, but the stuff that he played to create that chance was fantastic.
Yeah, the trademark long pot, we're used to him knocking in. He didn't. And he'll be slightly kicking himself about not taking that chance. With that type of shot, you always err on the side of hitting it too thin. But catching the yellow has given John Higgins a tempter here. Needs good cueing. But the black is available into the opposite corner. And as I say, I just felt at the end of that, with a couple of safety shots, that John was starting to strike the ball a bit better. Anyway, this is a tester. Played it in such a way that thought the only red he could leave was the one he was playing, and he was right. Nearly got the double kiss, but safe enough. Not much Mark could do there. And the problem here is that red on the balk line. No real telling safety in the balk end at the moment.
Oh, it's a pretty poor shot from John there. Don't quite know what he was doing there, but he's left Mark the possibility of a pot. Screw across the face of the pink for the black, which he's potted. So, and he's played in a way that is absolutely outstanding. How many players would have played it like that? That is wonderful. A very strange shot from John Higgins, the last one. Funny enough, Mark's played a few of those in the Championship, John, and nearly all of them have gone wrong.
Yeah, it's sometimes very difficult, particularly when you're using a cushion to go into the reds to generate enough pace. Just need a bit more topspin to get the arc on the cue ball.
Yeah, far from an easy shot. It's just
Williams, 8.
He's either over-arced it or under-arced it. Anyway, it was not really a brilliant chance, even though the opening red was fantastic.
You can't beat a Crucible, ooh, can you? Got a good cue ball though, did John?
Yeah, I don't know about you, John. I used to hate these frames.
Yeah. I don't think any player particularly likes them. Mainly because when the first chance comes, all the reds will be in the open. So whoever gets the first chance, well, you think is going to win it. And it's whoever's brave enough to go for a pot that might be left. I mean, the red on the right-hand side of the table, John Higgins wouldn't normally be tempted by the double, but he can't get the cue ball into a safe place. He's looking to leave this cue ball tight to the top cushion. Just restricts what Mark Williams can do.
It's all part and parcel of the game, John, isn't it? You're going to get some of these when you play them. It's just that you just know that they're just bitty, horrible frames until someone gets a chance.
And whoever gets that chance, invariably, it will be a very good one. Just wondering whether he might be tempted by the double now, if he can get the cue ball back to a safe place, but not even the thought of it. Just content to find his top cushion. Tighter the better. Well, this time he's trying to get a snooker behind the black, but that wasn't one of his best. The fact that Mark can get to the bottom of the cue ball, it could give him the advantage.
Yeah, there are very, very few players on the circuit who can go toe-to-toe in the tactical department with John Higgins. But Mark Williams is definitely one of them. He almost gives off the aura of not being capable of doing it, John, because of the way he plays, doesn't he? But you play Mark Williams and you are in some horrible spots on the snooker table. And he knows where to stick the cue ball. Very clever.
Yeah, that was a clever shot. Purposely playing that red from into the face of the brown to keep it at the other end of the table. The other thing that's making the safety a little bit more difficult, the red near the far right corner, it's possible. So basically all the safety has to be in the left half of the table as we look. Couldn't play safe in the right half, you could leave a cut.
And it's also stopping somebody having a go at a double for exactly the same reason.
Absolutely. I just thought, oh, John might play the double here, but then I noticed that red over the corner, and unless you get the cue ball on the right-hand side of the table, but then you might leave a pot to that far corner. But these reds gradually beginning to open up. Excellent cue ball.
Oh, that's better. Tighter you can get that white to the top cushion, least amount of shots your opponent can play and reply. Can't get the cue up in the air and jack down and play a shot where he brings it up. I mean, see Mark's face there, little nod, appreciation. Definitely got the upper hand here, John Higgins.
Was he taking this on? He did. He did. And he couldn't have got much closer. Ooh, it nearly dropped. A bit slower. Gravity may have pulled it in. Anyway, John Higgins gets the first good chance.
One.
Yeah, just had the natural angle to come on the black.
Nice shot that from John. And it really is fascinating at the start of these frames watching these two players. They use that expression, don't we? Chess with balls. And it's certainly like that with these two. And one's got a manoeuvre, the other one usually has an answer. But it was John Higgins' excellent cue ball, tight on the top cushion, that stopped Mark Williams from getting the cue ball back, and he was forced into that pot in the middle. So advantage Higgins there.
Thanks. 9.
Play for the brown in the middle, but he's overscrewed it. He wanted to be straightish on this brown. He's got a little bit of work to do now with the cue ball. May have to risk some kind of cannon here, coming round off 2 cushions. Well, he thinks he could hold it off 1, and I'll tell you what, he couldn't have played that any better. He couldn't have played that any better.
13.
Look at the way the cue ball out with the backspin he had on it. That was a very good shot.
And even better, John, the angle he finished on the red, isn't it? Just to run through. Because the blue's pretty tricky with that red next to it. Maybe not pot at all. So he had to get position on the black there.
Yeah, I don't think he has to play a cannon here. There's a little cluster of 3, and I think the one that's sort of low will go to the same pocket as the black. That's the one he's played on. Needs a bounce. Doesn't want to be hampered by the red near the cushion.
Yeah, I'm back to the question on the blue now. Can he run through this and get for the black? Probably. Because if he can't, that's the shot he'll play. And he could.
22.
Yeah, and not only did he nudge the reds, he's opened them up. He's now got a 14-point lead. Wouldn't say the frame's at his mercy, because we're playing in the final of the World Championship. But it's a great chance.
29.
There you go, just looking for another 41 points from this position. When he clears the reds at this end that are in the open, he's still got that one over the far right corner. Played the little cannon perfectly.
Just what you'd expect from someone
37.
who's been 4 times champion of the world. Great response. And a fascinating frame right at the start of this with all that tactical play. And he's getting his just reward. And very importantly in this break, he's managed to stay on the black right the way through it. Doesn't get to
45.
get involved going up the table towards the blue, which is slightly hampered by that loose red.
46.
This is excellent.
Yeah, and I picked on it, or picked up on it in the last frame. Just signs now he's getting through the ball better. He was a bit nervy at the start of this session, but he's gone through that barrier and now cueing a lot better. .45 points the lead. In an ideal
53.
world, he'd like to have an angle on this red and go up the table for the pink. Well, he's decided to play
54.
for the black as long as he's not straight.
Yeah, it's easy to forget as well, John, in these long matches, isn't it? The fact that he was actually 4-0 down in this
61.
match as well, so pulling back to 6-5. He'll be delighted.
Oh, he's been under it from the start of the match, hasn't he? 4-0, 5-1.
62.
So he pots the pink. And he'll go 60 points in front with 67 remaining. So just one red required after the pink. That confirms it. This red, and Mark Williams will need a
68.
snooker.
Truly excellent from John Higgins this break. Lovely cue ball control. Perfect position round the black spot. And even though he slightly overhit that one, won't be on the red next to the blue, I don't think. Or is he?
72.
Now a little swerve required. No problem.
73.
Yes, and that'll keep Mark Williams in his seat. And for any aspiring snooker players, you watch on John Higgins. He went through a rough spell at the start of this match.
78.
Went in through a rough spell in the first couple of frames, even though he managed to win one. Just believing that he hung on in there,
79.
he'd start to cue better. And he certainly is. Chances of making a century. Going to be very difficult with the two reds on either side of the table, but he does like a double. And that's what he's going to play here.
85.
He does like a double.
86.
That's the lovely thing when you're in the Crucible Theatre. When someone rolls a ball, you don't know it's
92.
in until it drops. He's already had 8 centuries in the tournament. And there have been 79. So could this be the 80th? Is the record of 86 going to be beaten this year? Well played. Wonderful. Turn up. And the Higgins family, well pleased with that. And you can be a lot of things in this game, John. You can be a great potter, break builder, but you need a big heart and battling qualities, which John Higgins has shown here.
Yep, you need a lot of ingredients in the recipe of being a top-class snooker player, John, and he's got all the ingredients, every one of them.
$109. $140.
Well, we said when they were tip-tapping about, it's a frame that no professional like, because when you get the first chance, then invariably the balls are there for the taking. But you've got to take them, and you can't take them much better than that. The Higgins family over the moon, as will John Higgins. He's still one behind, but now beginning to cue well. Mark Williams leads 6-5.
Well, there you go, a confirmation that that is John's 9th, and it's the 80th century of the championship so far. We're chasing 86 as the record here in 2015 and 2016. And if we're to do that, there's already been 2 centuries in this final made by John. The top in any match here has been 8. We're going to have to beat that in order to break the record this year. Can be done, of course, and he's certainly gone about it the right way. And it was all, Ken and Steve, because of this miss, the foundation of it from Mark Williams.
they were sort of fiddling around trying to get the cue ball back, and eventually John got Mark Williams in a very difficult situation. And Mark, as he normally does, tries to pot himself out of the situation here, and he goes for this red into the centre pocket, and just look how close it is. Just went into the pocket and out of it. But if you look at the position of the balls there, Hazel, actually John Higgins cleared the table from that position. It was an incredible break, and it sort of got him into the groove.
From that position, actually, the only ball that he was leaving was the one he missed. So he's a clever opportunist player as well. But you know, like somewhere down the line, you have to take a risk. And Mark was the one that did, and John Higgins capitalised.
Sure did. This is the last before their interval.
Just a bit pacey on the break-off shot there. But I think the yellow may have come to the rescue for the reds on the left-hand side of the table. And we always say that the World Championship is a marathon. This is Mark Williams' 100th frame of the championship so far. On the other hand, John Higgins has had 98. Not a lot of difference.
Should be warmed up by now then.
What a fluke. Now he's missed a couple of these cutback blacks. He's taking this one on. There's a couple of reds that, so he didn't, if he pots the black, you think he's bound to be on one of them. Played it well. If you get a bit of luck, take advantage of it, because it could always go the other way.
8.
You know, John, I had absolutely no doubt he was knocking that black in. Honestly, I've seen him play thousands of frames over the years, and there's never been anyone who's more adept at potting those awkward, horrible shots that nobody likes. He's just brilliant at them. Here's the fluke, which obviously it was.
11.
The safety, but the black after it. And there's John Higgins Not too impressed by it. But the black afterwards was horrible.
12.
But he's brilliant at them.
Now, to play the cannon, because the pink is slightly separated from the cluster, he'll have to hit the pink absolutely plumb full in the face to get that pink to run into the reds. There's one loose red, but you might not get a better chance than this. Got to hit that pink full. No, he didn't, and that's why he's gone in the corner.
Mark Williams, 12. John Higgins, 6.
Needed to hit the pink full. Okay, don't get me wrong, it's a little unlucky for the pink to go in. Look at it again. See, he just got it half ball on the left-hand side as we look. Unlucky to see the pink go in, though.
Another excellent pot from John. Does seem to be coming to the boil now.
Well, will we play the same shot, do you think, John? He's looking at it once again, because the pink's slightly separated. But he can play it slightly differently. He can play it a bit gentler and play half ball on the pink. And the red just left of the pink. He'd still be on one to the corner. But does he go all out full-blooded? Looks like it. That was the advantage of having that red just to the left of the pink. There was always a chance you could have developed that.
6.
Well, he's on this red. It's finished on the left-hand side cushion, but it's mighty thin.
As you say, John, it was mighty
John
thin,
Higgins,
and it's a
6.
delicate shot.
Settle down, please, thank you.
The way John Higgins' face looked, he just caught that jaw, didn't it? Mark
One.
could get through to it. He's got a nice angle on the black here.
How well did he play that? Never easy when they're in the jaws to get perfect position, but that was superb.
Well, under normal circumstances, you'd say maybe he's a little bit unlucky there. They stuck
8.
on him, but the red he's got to the left corner. We may be able to get one to the right middle. The right corner. Oh, well, the one to the right middle shouldn't cause him a problem. The one to the left
9.
corner where he was hampered, could have just dropped it and maybe finished on the pink, but he'll be happy with the lay of the land now.
$40. 50. 27.
Yeah, that's twice now, and referee Brendan Moore has just said, just give me a second, because there's some noise coming from backstage. Don't know where from. And it'd have to be something, you feel, to put Mark Williams off, wouldn't you? Anyway,
22.
found the gap nicely, perfect on this red. And if
23.
none of those reds go, that little cluster of 5 would play a cannon, but I don't see the value in doing it now. It could go wrong. But I'll be
28.
thinking of it pretty soon. As I say, unless one of them goes where you can play on it in a certain way,
29.
that you could pot a red and bring the others into play. This black to go 36 points in front. Still 75 remaining. Played the cannon that time. Well, it's all right, but that cue ball being close to the side cushion doesn't make this red to the middle any easier.
Excellent again.
37.
He's lost the cue ball, and that was a tricky enough pot. And where the reds are, stuck behind the brown. Good luck with this one, John.
Mark Williams, 37.
If he hits one here and gets this safe, he'll be over the moon.
Yeah, normally with this, if you can hit one cushion, you play hit and hope. I think you'll have to play the hit and hope.
Foul, and a miss.
Now,
Mark Williams, 7.
here's a question now for Mark. Although he'll take this red on. A potter of his stature, he's not going to have these replaced. And this is a chance to win the frame now.
One.
Yeah, no value in sticking him back there, was there, John? Because, you know, John Higgins may fluke one, so if you've got a chance like that, take it.
Could have finished better on this pink, in all honesty. But played that well, using the rest. And this red, just this red, will put him 52 points in front with just 51 remaining. And he'll restore his 2-frame advantage going into the mid-session interval. And he's on the blue.
8.
Just. And he knows that if he makes certain of the colour, then John Higgins won't come back. But at the moment, just one snooker needed. Mark will be well aware of how good John Higgins can be at playing snooker, so make certain of the blue. And he did. And he's going to be on the red below the pink.
I'll tell you what, John, these two are saving up some
30.
final, aren't they?
They are, and as we saw at the start of this frame, that little run of the ball is going to make all the difference. But you feel in some of the frames. That was an outrageous fluke
40.
that Mark got. But as I say, you've got to take advantage of them. Give him the platform to win this frame. Just have a look at the scoreboard. Pot's the pink. There'll be no way that John Higgins will come back to the table. Yeah, it looked like we're going to have one of those frames again, just tip-tapping into the reds, and then from
20.
nowhere he fluked the red, got 37. OK, didn't win the frame, but when he ran out of position, he just played the snooker behind the brown, and that caused a mistake from John Higgins. So John Higgins marches off to the dressing room. Mark Williams will be relieved in a way. He's still got his 2-frame advantage. This time, it's 7-5.
Well, it's certainly serving up a really fascinating final so far. Just what we would expect from two greats of the game, Ken.
Yeah, it is. It's to and fro, and it is great. It's great to watch. You know, it's nail-biting stuff as well. And you can feel the sort of enthusiasm with the crowd. They're engrossed in it. We're certainly engrossed in it here. And it's great to see two great champions going at it like two boxers in a ring. It's fantastic.
They sure are. And we've had 2 centuries from John Higgins. Looked like he was finally getting in stroke there, but another good effort from Williams there.
Yeah, I mean, John Higgins sort of was a bit awkward on the red. He'd gone into the pack and the red with the rest was very tricky and difficult. Mark Williams had tried to go into the pack, messed his chance up. John Higgins could have hoped for a better leave than this, to be quite honest, but he'd have been distraught to see it stay over the pocket. And no, Mark Williams didn't completely win the frame there and then, but he did enough, you know.
He did enough, yeah. Now, one thing we were talking about in the studio here was the long pot success, which is quite interesting because John's taken on, 8 in this match, and he's got a 38% success rate with that. He's 65 throughout the whole tournament. Significantly, though, Williams, 17 out of 25, 68% for you. Now, is that as a result of the new coaching system that he's been working on with Sightright and the extra work that he's done with these?
Definitely. I think the fact that he started taking a lot more on will tell you one thing, that he's a lot more confident. He's got a higher percentage. If you maybe go back maybe a year ago, his percentage, and when he wasn't playing so well, or even a few years ago before he started using Stephen Feeney, he seems to be hitting more at the middle of the white, which means he's got more consistency of the cue ball, more confidence in the longer pots, and obviously more success even in the safety department. And the most important, the hardest thing to do in snooker is to hit the middle of the white. Normally when you're not playing well, you're imparting too much side, so you're not getting consistency, where he's getting a lot more consistency on those long pots and a lot more confident on them.
But if his long potting's come back, as it has, surely he's bound to score better overall.
Yeah, I mean, if you're potting the long ones, then also you're more accurate amongst the balls, and I think that's shown. You know, he looked very confident amongst the balls and striking them with authority. Even though he still only sort of floats shots in a lot of the time, he just rolls the balls towards pockets more so than lots of other top players. But he's been playing some great shots. When he's been going into the pack, though, he hasn't really been splitting the packs open very well. So that's why he hasn't really been winning that many frames in one visit. And, you know, and there's a little bit of luck attached to that, but there's also an art form attached to it. So perhaps, you know, it's not perhaps his strongest point, or it just may be on the day. But he's potted a lot of blacks where the white balls had to go into the cushion first, and then it has to go back to the pack. And they're a lot harder to guarantee the split.
OK. Overall, though, a really interesting momentum shift. Obviously, Williams had the upper hand, 5-1 up, but John's come back at him now, and we have a proper match on here, guys.
Yeah, it feels like John's now got his teeth into this match, and yeah, he's a bulldog when he gets going. So he's not on parity, but I think he's got his teeth into Mark's leg. But they're pretty good at shoveling him off.
Nice.
Fascinating to see how that works.
Nice imagery there. Thanks very much, Steve. OK, well, much of the snooker season has been dominated by guys in their 40s, not just these fellas, obviously, but Ronnie O'Sullivan as well. And between them, they have won, let's see, 11 out of the 25 events since last summer. Now, Williams, Higgins and O'Sullivan all turned professional together in 1992, 26 years ago, and that triumvirate has become the golden generation, if you like, of this sport.
I think it's safe to say, Stephen, that 1992 is a year that will go down in the history of snooker as 3 unbelievable players turning pro.
Yeah, without a doubt. They've stood the test of time. John Higgins used to be my practice partner, and I thought I could see straight away that he had it in him to be.
Did you think he was going to be as good as he is, though?
No, but what I did like about John was his single-mindedness. You know, he used to be in the same management team as me, but he didn't want to play second fiddle. You know, I was always going to be the number one in that team, but he decided he moved away, and I always respected him for that. Showed a good, you know, single-mindedness that you have to have.
Now, the other 2 players, of course, Ronnie O'Sullivan, who's obviously well-documented and genius of a player, won 5 World Championships, but someone you practice with a lot, John Higgins, he's been very special for a long, long time.
Oh, you bet he has. I mean, John used to come in the club that I played in, and to be quite honest, he was just a run-of-the-mill junior. He wasn't very good. His brother was a better player.
Honestly?
Yeah.
His brother was better than him?
Oh, absolutely. John wasn't a player. I played in the juniors, and Jason, his older brother, was decent. He could play. John was got a little guy in the periphery. He was never thought of. And I'll tell you, this happened, this is true. I'm playing him in the club, table 3 in the club one day, and I'm fishing. I'm going 80. He's going 80, 90, ton, 90. And I went, whoa. Wait a minute. This ain't just a little guy having a good day. This is a little guy who's going to go the whole road. And I knew right there and then, I says, oh no. You can tell, his technique's the same now as it was then. And I went, oh no, this is something out of the ordinary.
Now, we obviously got quite a bit out of playing with you. That's obvious. If you're playing with you every day, you're going to pick up stuff. Were you surprised how quickly he picked everything up? Because he had a meteoric rise of the rankings, didn't he?
Yep, absolutely. Talking about when he left our team, as it were, it wasn't long until he won his first ranking event, and he just seemed to get better so quickly. You know, and also the Ronnie O'Sullivan and Mark Williams as well. They just seemed to like go on a steady rise together, didn't they? They were just you know, three different characters, as you were. I think, you know, Ronnie's possibly the most serious of the three, maybe on the table. Well, maybe not that. Maybe that's not right. John's serious as well, but Mark is a different ball game to the other two.
Another funny little story that actually involves Stephen a little. I remember the World Masters in Birmingham in the spring of '91. It was a big event, the World Under-16s that they had. But see, John, Mark, and Roy wouldn't have really known each other very well. They were only 15. I remember Stephen. I was first season as a pro. I remember sort of getting a chance to chat with Stephen. He says, "Oh, this under-16s will be a good tournament, won't it? With Mark Williams and Ronnie O'Sullivan will probably be in it." I says, "No. And this was a few months before John had started doing all the heavy scoring. I says, no. There's a boy from Scotland, his name's John Higgins. He'll trounce a lot. I'm telling you, he's unreal."
That wasn't just patriotic.
No, it wasn't. Well, it was, but and sure enough, he beat Mark 6-1 in the final, and I was like that. I knew he was going to be like, as I say, you know, he was awesome.
Now, as for Mark Williams, can you put a tag on him? I mean, if you look at him as a player,
pain in the backside.
I know you were going to say that, but as a player, how would you categorise him?
It's very difficult to. Do you call him an attacking player? Do you call him a clever player? Do you call what box do you put Mark Williams in? Because he can do everything. I don't think he's in the same, quite the same league as Higgins or Sullivan when it comes to break building. He goes around it a different way. He cherry picks a bit. Where the other two will go into the pack pretty early, maybe more aggressively. But yeah, like, from a personal point of view, he's been probably one of my best friends in the circuit, and I'm going to blame him for my decline because I never used to have any friends, and he ruined it for me.
Well, you still haven't got many. Don't worry about that. Now, as I say, we mentioned Mark Williams there, but he's very, very clever, Alan, isn't he? He plays shots other people don't play, and when it gets bitty, I mean, I know he's brilliant when the game's open, but when he's bitty, I've never played anybody quite like him.
I've always thought with Mark and about his sort of cue and his cue action, his touch and time and all that stuff floating, and with all the stuff that we hear about. I think he's only became a modern player in the last year. He's got the big thick cue, he's got the power, you know, he can really dig in there, get some reaction. Whereas before he was kind of floating about and sort of, but he, you know, it was all touch, almost like a throwback, the way he played. Although he did have the long game, he wasn't, as Stephen said, like ripping into the pack and tearing them up to ribbons and getting on with it, you know. Different kind of player, but as Stephen says, awesome, just all round.
His personality, though, was just night and day compared to the other two. I mean, the other two are so intense. When it comes to a world final, so intense. And you got Mark Williams eating sweeties from a member of the audience. And I was in his dressing room before today, and he's like having a laugh and a joke. You know, he was telling me about, I think before the last session against Barry Hawkins, his son brought him a bottle of fizzy juice. And he'd shaken it before, and Mark Williams opened it, and it went everywhere. And I mean, that's typical Mark Williams, like getting focused before a match. It's just chaos.
Yeah, I came down from the little lounge and downstairs, and he was in dressing room 3. This was probably about a week into the championship, and he had his dressing room door open. He had a ghetto blaster on, or the equivalent of the modern, and the music was, and he's sitting kind of, and it was about 10 minutes before the off, and I thought, no, I'd be sitting in there, you know. Like, right, let's get this, you know, he just, you know.
John wouldn't be like that, would he?
No, John, well, I mean, you've seen the difference of two players, you know, the first session. John was like, you know, focused, you know, every shot was a pint of blood. Mark Williams was just, you know, going floating back to his seat. And if it's true, I mean, he's a competitor. You don't get to win what he's done without being a competitor. But to have that attitude where you really don't care if you win or lose, I mean, what an advantage.
Do you think he doesn't care?
Oh, he cares, but he's got this thing where he's just got this facade, isn't he? Where he just...
I call him the con man. Snooker, he's a snooker con. He's a con artist. In snooker terms, I watch him. But you've got to know what to look for. There's little signs out there, you know. He plays sleek. We call it sleek it. Stephen knows what I mean. Up the road, like sly shots.
Yeah.
He plays sleek it wee shots, and you're like, I know what you're doing, but you've got to watch what he's doing because he'll get you if you don't.
You generally wouldn't know if you seen him after the match whether he'd won or lost. You would with John Higgins.
But one thing's for certain, chaps, we'll never see a year like 1992 again, will we?
No, absolutely. No chance.
Of course, we do know that at the end of this final, the Golden Generation, Ronnie, Mark and John, will have secured 12 of the last 21 world titles. That is how prolific that they have been. Now, Ronnie's had a fantastic season with 5 titles, but we have got to know those guys and indeed their families. It's almost like they've kind of grown up in front of our very eyes over the last few years, particularly the Williams clan, and Seema Jaswal has managed to locate Joe and the boys.
Yes, I am catching up with Mark's lovely family. And Joe, I want to talk to you first because I know that it's very nerve-wracking for you sitting in there, isn't it?
Yeah, very nerve-wracking, especially after last night. And we've got to do it all again now for the next 2 days. So, yeah, very nerve-wracking.
But I bet you're very impressed with the way he started.
Yeah, an amazing start, but there's a long way to go and never take anything for granted, not in this game. So, brilliant start, though.
Absolutely, and actually we're really lucky to even be watching Mark today, because if it wasn't for you, you actually encouraged him to carry on in the game.
Yeah, I did, yeah. He had a bad couple of seasons and it basically just had enough, and thought, well, you know, just basically says to him, what would you do outside of the game? And I like to have that time, the control of the remote and be able to watch my own TV show. So I just said, no, I just felt he had more in him left to give, and just encouraged him just to give it another shot. And he obviously teamed up with Steve Feeney and Sightright, and I don't know, his games just seem to click, and he's found, his enjoyment for the game again.
You can see he's enjoying it out there, and he's had a great year as well, hasn't he? Winning 2 tournaments already and now getting to the final here.
Yeah, he's had an amazing season. We just didn't appreciate every moment for now, because, like I said, he came close to giving up, and, we didn't think we'd see these kind of moments again. And for the kids to be able to experience it is amazing. So.
Oh, brilliant. Well, he's been great to watch. Are you having fun, Joel? Daddy playing well? Yeah. Good. Okay, let's speak to Kian over here, because I know you're having fun watching your dad play today.
Yeah, he did good in the first half, but then he in the first 4 frames he had 4-0, and then the next 4 frames he 3-1, so he did quite good. And when he went to steal sweets off the person sat next to him, I think that could have helped him a bit.
Does he do that a lot? Does he like to eat sweets while he's playing?
No, not really, no, just felt like it.
Okay, well, before we go back to the action, what would you give him out of 10? Because I think we've got a pundit in the making here. Out of 10, what would you rate his performance?
8.
Good. Well, let's see if he can make it 10. Hazel, back to you.
Thanks, Seema. Yeah, Kian has really been his lucky charm. It's interesting to note that Connor, who we didn't hear from then, Connor was only born in 2004. So these kids have never seen their dad in his pomp. They've never seen him win a Triple Crown event. What a powerful incentive to be playing in front of your kids out there, surely.
Yes, amazing, and obviously, it must be quite strange, for the children to watch their dad all of a sudden being on television. You grow up. I remember my kids when they were younger. You'd walk in the high street in your local area, and there'd be people saying, "Hello, Steve," and then they'd walk on a bit and they go, "Do you know him?" And you go, "Well, no. Well, why does he know your name?" Yeah. So as they're growing up, they realise their dad sort of is on television. But it must be marvellous to be here at the theatre as well.
You agree?
Yeah, my little boy. I mean, I always say I might be on television. I'm playing on television. I'd rather watch Roger Federer, Dad. Is that okay? I hope you understand. Yeah.
I do remember Gary Lineker actually saying that one of his kids had said, "Oh, I'd love to be a footballer." He said, "Oh, really? Who would you like to be?" And he said, "David Beckham." What a put down! Absolutely brilliant. Well, you've met the Williams family. Now, I think it's time we introduce you to the extended Crucible family.
Why do I come to the Crucible? You get to know the same people in the front 3 rows. It's nice to meet them year after year. I just love the place. I'll never stop coming here, as long as I'm breathing.
There's a good core office that have been coming for donkey's years, and we all get together. Some of us don't see each other for 12 months or more, but when we meet up again, it's like it was yesterday. Just the best 17 days of the year.
Started coming with mum and dad, and they're still coming. It's one of the highlights of the year for me. And if you love snooker, it's a fantastic place to come.
Every time we come here, we make new friends, and the snooker family get bigger and bigger. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I'm Kelly, I'm 37, I'm from Stoke, and this is my 21st year at the Crucible. As a lifelong Hendry fan, I think his 147 in 2012 was emotional. I really felt it was special.
Well, you couldn't have him set much better than this.
There's a little buzz goes around the whole audience when they realise the maximum's on. And you look around and everybody is like, you can see people muttering, oh, he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And yeah, it was a great, great day.
Absolutely fantastic. There's only one, Stephen Hendry. Well done, Stephen. You've done the game proud once again.
A few days later, when he announced his retirement, I met him and had a photo with him. And I don't know why, but I just said, I love you. He smiled, but he didn't say it back.
I'm Keith Walker, I'm 69 years old, and I've been coming to the Crucible for 40 years this year. My favourite player is Steve Davis. He's just an ambassador for the sport. He's a real gentleman. I think he's brilliant. It was a sad day for me when Steve announced his retirement in the Crucible. When he came out with that trophy. It was very emotional for Steve, and it was also emotional for me as well. I remember Rob Walker gave him a big hug, you know. I wanted to do that myself, actually.
John Airy, I've been coming since 1981 when I was a 13-year-old kid. Dennis winning. We didn't have a season ticket then. I queued up and I got the last ticket. At the time I was a passionate Dennis supporter, more because I was in the anyone but Davies camp.
No.
It's a shameful position to hold because he was a fantastic player, and looking back I probably wish the other man had won. I don't think that'll ever be surpassed, that final, just in terms of sheer drama and excitement.
He's done it!
I'm Brian Wright, coming here since 1989. I'm probably known as Cov-Top Brian.
Pride of the Midlands, the Commentary City fan, Brian Wright.
2012 Olympic year, my gold medal race was to ask Lisa to marry me. Lisa, I want to share the rest of my life with you. You're amazing. You're truly beautiful. You're my best friend. You're my soulmate. And I love you with all my heart. Lisa, will you marry me? Thankfully, she said yes.
Brian, do the business.
It must have been what Hendry felt when he won his 7th, or what Davies felt when he won his 1st, or that feeling, that elation of having success on the Crucible floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bride and groom-to-be.
Keep getting asked when you're getting married.
6 years on, they still haven't got married because he's spending all his cash watching world-class snooker.
August the 25th, 2019, here at the Crucible Theatre.
About blooming time, mate. Only took you 6 years.
There's nothing better than being in the Crucible Theatre when something magical happens.
I go to a lot of the snooker tournaments. I'd give up them all just to come to the Crucible every year. I really would. I'll never stop coming here, as I say.
It's a place that makes you want to come back time and time again.
I think it's probably the most special place I've ever been to in terms of sport.
I can't imagine I'll ever stop. When this is over, next month's payday, start saving up again for next year.
Brilliant. And our gallant semi-finalist Barry Hawkins tweeted the other day how touched he was to see some of those films, and makes him appreciate how the players and indeed this sport really connects with people. So you've met some of our super fans, now back to our superstars. We've got another 5 frames to play in this best of 35 frames final tonight. Who will have the overnight lead and by what margin? Back to John and John.
Frame 13, Mark Williams.
Thank you, Hazel. Yeah, Crucible
Cameras
family.
down now, please.
And we very much appreciate their support and dedication to the game that we love.
Absolutely, John. Been a love affair myself with this place ever since I was a 13-year-old boy. Came through the doors for, well, just nearly 14 actually, in 1977 to watch the first time when the championship was here. And it was electric then, and it still is now. No venue like it.
Just saw the average frame time, just under 17.5 minutes. Both these players get on with it. Average shot time, it's not slow. Just got to judge this well though. Seen a few of these come off a bit square and catch the pink. It's in that red full, made certain it was safe. Touching ball, is it, referee? He's having a close look, is Brendan Moore.
Touching that one, Mark.
It is touching, so that gives Mark an easy path back to the balk end. Now sometimes you can play just to make certain you get tight to the cushion, or is he going to come off the balk cushion and try and get in behind the yellow? In behind the yellow, he's trying. Not quite. Not left a pot on, but I think John can get through to this red to play the containing safety.
Just while we got a few safety shots on, John, just ask you, pardon my ignorance, did you play in the 77 championship here?
I did. I lost to John Spencer, the eventual winner.
And were you a big fan of the venue straight away, were you?
Well, the first thing that was a real shock to us was starting playing at 10:30 in the morning. Snooker players didn't get up till that time normally. And I bet both these players, when they play morning sessions, are walking around the streets of Sheffield from about 8 onwards. I bet you were.
Yeah, well, I actually started practicing before I came to Sheffield. I had a table at home looking to have one. I'd be up at 8 o'clock in the morning practicing in preparation, just basically because I knew you were going to have 10 o'clock sessions. You might as well get used to them.
Yeah. But as I say, originally it was 10:30, then it went to 10 o'clock. And I'm amazed at the standard that's produced in those morning sessions. But no morning sessions in the final, the afternoon and evening. And what a match-up. Two of that great class of 92 here. Couldn't do anything else but just play the containing safety. And with that red in the balk end, well, you could play safe in the balk end as long as you cover that red with the yellow. But is it too risky? John thought so.
It's a funny thing watching the expressions on these two, that they've got total appreciation for the shots each other plays. You know, play a shot and John Higgins will come up and look at situations. Some good shot, pal. That was clever. Mark Williams likewise.
And covering that red in the balk end with the yellow puts a little bit of pressure now on the shot for John. There you see, just covered it. We've not outer red towards the corner. And kissing the green. Not the best of safeties. Can't get to the one near the left corner pocket, and I presume the fact he's looking down here, the green is covering the red near the baulk line, so John was a little bit fortunate there.
Yeah, he's been down to have a look as well if he drops onto the red, but he's decided to come off the pack instead. Well, he could play the top 2 reds, so no damage done there. And it looks like a pretty good cue ball. Covered everything. Although I'm saying that, is there a gap between yellow and brown? Double maybe, is he thinking of?
Well, there is a gap, but he can only hit the red full ball. Can he force an angle to screw back to the baulk cushion? Never thought about the screw back, went for the double. But that's why we always say why professionals don't like doubles. If it doesn't go in, depending on what part of the jaw of the middle pocket it hits, and you're never certain, it was close, but he's left it. Yeah, just making certain here. There's quite a few reds he can play on. The black obviously goes to the right corner, so he'd like to be on the black as soon as he possibly could. Here's the best angle from the green. It's all about line and length. And we just want to kiss these reds. And that spoilt it somewhat.
4.
Well, he's got a straight red to this corner, but as I say, I don't think the black goes into the opposite corner pocket. Can he make an angle to run round of 2 cushions for the pink? He's going to have to pinch a bit if he does. Tried to pinch too much.
Mark Williams, 4.
You can't try and pinch any of these pockets. I know we've all said they're playing generous, but not that generous.
Yeah, and in fairness to them, I do think in the last couple of sessions they've tightened up a little bit. I think it's when the cloth is absolutely brand new, they were sliding in a little bit too easily. There's been 1 or 2 that haven't gone in, that had earlier, so a little bit more of a test. But John will be disappointed with the safety at the moment from himself. Players hate it when they hit baulk colours, but particularly when you're going down the table, there's no real reason for that.
Well, it has to be said that his long potting's just not quite on it tonight.
No. This is no gimme. Skinny. Shot well controlled. 1. Doesn't have to go into the pack here. Could do so if he wants, but doesn't have to. There's a red on the left-hand side, the bottom of the cluster.
Yeah, does he fancy playing a precise positional shot? Answer was no, he didn't, so he trusts a little bit to luck, but he'll be happy with that. It's worked out absolutely perfect.
6.
Yeah, lovely little cannon that. And of course, once he drops this red in, an excellent chance for
7.
John Higgins.
Yes, and I think it's only the red that's closest to the left corner that's stopping the black going in both corner pockets. So if that's the case, that's the red he'll play for, off the black. Doesn't have to play any cannons to get over the winning line now. The red's nicely
40.
in the open, and I think the black will be available into both corners. You clearly see it will be after that red's potted.
50.
Great chance.
Yeah, just wants a little stun up into the red above the black. That's the fella, but he flicked the other one first. Just caught that first red. He wanted to miss that, put the second one up. And because he got that flick, slightly lost the cue ball, but shouldn't be a problem.
An untimely sneeze, so being the consummate professional, John gets up and gets back behind the line of shot. Needs full concentration on this chance.
$23.
But once again, just lost the cue ball slightly.
Yeah, ever since that couple of shots ago, that little cannon that he flicked the other one, it's just been slightly awry with the cue ball control. And he still is. Trying to play the screw with check side and come back up the table for this red. Yes, he can still
29.
pot it, but he's not ideal, and the cue ball's running away. Just seemed to be an accumulation
29.
of pressure there. That's all it was. He just, once he didn't get that cannon, and he flicked the other red, he was out of position for the next one, then off to pink, and it basically just caught up with him, that break. There's the red he missed, and he'll be very disappointed not to have made more there. That was a very good chance.
Just overhit that slightly. Now can John get past the blue? Well, he can, I think. Referee Brendan Moore just having a look as well. If he can get through to it, then he'll take it on. Because he knows if he knocks it in, it could be a frame winner. And could well be now. Wonderful shot.
1.
That's just excellent cueing. Straight through the ball. So, chose to play the cannon on the red on the left.
8.
A little stun up, and you could not ask for these to be in better positions.
Another 33 points from this position required.
9.
but take nothing for granted.
$60. 70.
So you feel if you can screw back for one of these two reds just below the pink. And get on one of them nicely without being hampered, and that's absolutely perfect.
24.
So after this black, he's looking for red, colour red, to leave Mark Williams needing a snooker. When he pots this red,
32.
there'll be 67 remaining. So as I say, red, colour red needed.
33.
He didn't come actually absolutely perfect here, and to hold for the red he needs, he's going to have to play a cannon on the pink. You don't hit these too hard. Give time for the backspin to take effect. And got it. And this red
40.
now to go 66 points in front with just 59 remaining. Lucky to get the second chance probably, John, but great opening red.
Deserves to win the frame from her. As you say, we've seen one or two shots, long shots from Mark Williams haven't quite gone in this evening. But there was no problem with John Higgins' long game there. That was an excellent shot. You can't hit it better than this.
48. $49.
Well, if he's screwing up and down the table, he's got to miss the yellow. Oh, he checked it. He's checked it. Is he going to knock these reds on? What a great effort. He played it with a ton of
56.
left-hand side. Like an exhibition shot. Oh, the blue's gone in, but it won't make any difference. Mark Williams won't bother getting out of his seat. The frame was well and truly over. And John Higgins once again reduced his deficit to just one frame. And there's still 4 to play in this session. 7-6, Mark Williams.
Oh, it's cat and mouse, isn't it? Williams manages to get away, and then suddenly Higgins is right on his tail again. And the foundation of that break was that fantastic red that we saw.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Williams had played a loose safety shot and gave him a sniff. And whilst you expect at this level and this juncture of the tournament that players are in stroke, you've still got to knock those in. It was a beautiful shot you played. Perhaps a guide with the blue a little bit.
Yeah, see how close the cue ball actually got to the blue there. He was almost had to flick a little bit of right-hand side, but the blue was actually a good guide as he's down on the shot in his eye line, but cued it in beautifully, and again, you know, made a frame and a break from it.
Impressions of the way Higgins appears to be warming up a little now?
Well, he's still not happy that he's not clinching the frames in one visit, as we now it's become the de rigueur for the top players to be able to do. So he's letting Mark back in. So I think it's just who can actually grab this game by the scruff of the neck at the moment. It may not happen in this session, but somewhere down the line, somebody might take off.
Thank you, frame 14.
Might not happen, but
John Higgins to break.
anybody that can is going to have a great advantage.
Can he get back on terms here?
Yeah, this final at the moment, John, is being played out like the 2 semi-finals. Usually have a session in a match where someone runs away with it and maybe wins 6-2 or something like that. We've not seen that in either the semi-finals. Mark Williams looked as though he could have done that in the early stages of this match, but was able to push on that advantage.
Yeah, I think in this case, I think with these two together, I think they're just too clever. I think they're too clever for, even when they start losing a few frames, they know how to scrap the way in and win another one and stop. You know, you don't see them losing 5 or 6 frames on the spin because they're just too good at match play. I think that's simply it in a nutshell. Now, Mark Williams will be tempted by this red in the middle, I'm pretty sure. Far from easy, but Ken mentioned before in the studio, he's one of the best players he's seen, I think, in the middle pocket.
Doesn't lessen the pressure though. If he does decide to go for the middle, he could play it to the far left corner and maybe feel as though he wouldn't leave anything too easy, but if he plays it in the middle and misses it, he's going to leave a sitter for his opponent.
See, I think one of the reasons why he's a little reticent, John, with the blue being knocked off its spot a touch, I think if the blue was there, he'd probably feel as if just playing this natural weight would take it up towards the blue. I think it would have been slightly off its spot. He's got to hit it a bit firmer. Unbelievable shot.
And he obviously thinks the pink will pot. But that was a brave shot to play. Look what he was leaving, and the pink does go.
Yeah, that's ultimately why I think he chose the shot. I think if he was having to play up with any pace more than that, higher up the table, he wouldn't have taken that. But because the pink did go, he decided to go. Oh, what a great shot.
7.
Pink spot not available, goes up on the blue spot. That won't bother Mark at the moment.
8.
A little bit straight, but I think he's just got enough angle to be able to nicely come on one of those reds in the other half of the table. A little trace of the left-hand side. Now there is a red at the bottom of the cluster that will go, and the reason I mention that, some players, rather than go into the pack and play the cannon,
50.
would rather play on the red that's loose, just leave himself a half-ball pot, and in potting that bring other reds into play. We'll see how he wants to play it. Straight into him. Oh, well, would you believe it? Okay, he didn't catch it full in the face.
John Higgins,
but
6.
once again, when he's gone into him, previous frame, he knocked the pink in when he didn't catch it, and this time, not catching him
Settle
full,
down,
he's
please,
gone
thank
off. I don't question the choice of shot, but he had an alternative to play, but that is unlucky.
Obviously no problem with being able to pot this red that's there. John's just having a look to see if he can pot it. That's why, and avoid the cannon on any of the reds as he comes down the table. Can't really screw this red in, so it's just, well, he may be able to get something out of it. He's just, I wonder if he can screw past the other side and get a gap, which is what he's done, although he didn't get the gap. And now,
1.
Well, he stuck a red over the corner. He may be forced into this black, John.
Yeah, and if that red had just been slightly away from the cushion, it'd have made this pocket feel a lot bigger, but it's not. So there's a lot of pressure on this shot, tight under the cushion.
Absolutely brilliant. As John rightly said, that red wasn't close enough to the pocket to make it a big hole. So there was plenty of pressure on that one.
Just looking at John's body language, he's obviously had to give 100% concentration to potting the black, but he's not landed good on the red. Just a puff of the cheeks told me that he's left with another slightly difficult shot.
Yep. Going across the table, slightly hitting down. Very easy to flick a bit aside on these. Need good cueing.
9.
Well, it was good queuing. Now, John had a good look at this before. It must be pretty tight, because he didn't just get down straight away. I mean, from our angle, it looks like it flies in, but where John is, it might be a touch tighter, looking at it.
Played it really well. It's one of those, if you're straight behind it and you've got the view of the object ball and the cue ball and the pocket
50.
in line, you'd never miss it. But as John said, it was tricky. Now, what a chance.
60.
To drop behind. This would be some achievement from John Higgins. Is he on this red to the corner?
23.
It's pretty tight, so maybe not. Might be change of plan.
Obviously, you can pot this one that's close to the left corner pockets, but a little bit of work to do with the cue ball.
Well,
it was nice to get through the gap, but he knew he was going to be slightly hampered with the next shot. Just had to stand for it.
Yeah, this is tough. And all you can do in this situation, you can't try to do much with the cue ball. Just pot the pink and just trust to luck you get the right cannon. It's flicked in off the red. He's okay.
For a horrible split second, he thought he'd missed that.
30.
Such was the wafer-thin contact.
31.
Flicked the pink in the pocket. And these are lovely now.
Yes, and that red near the left corner is a lot easier than it was when it was tight against the cushion.
$38.
Another
39.
24 points needed in this situation. So basically we're looking at this black, 2 more reds, and he'll have levelled the match.
He really is made of stern stuff, is John Higgins. I've been saying it for years and years and years, both playing him and being in the commentary box and in the studio. Match after match, he just seems
47.
to find it from somewhere. Brilliant competitor.
This time deciding to play for that red, which, as I say, was difficult before, but when he potted the ping and it flicked it away from
54.
the cushion, it may give him a nice angle for it. Red, colour red needed.
Thanks. 55.
This red to go 54 points in front.
62.
With just 51 remaining.
63.
Mark Williams.
69.
Disappointed, I think, particularly with his long game today. And okay, a couple of times he may feel he was unlucky when he went into the cluster. And this, on this occasion, he went in off. Another occasion, he knocked the pink in.
Well, going right back to the start of this break, John. What a black that was from John Higgins from the jaws of the pocket.
75.
Absolutely wonderful cutback. Lots of pressure on it.
76.
Floated it in the hole. And everything he got, he deserves after that shot. And he's got his shooting boots on, John. I mentioned earlier, you need to just step it up a touch. Well, he certainly has been doing. And this has been mightily impressive.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what the response is from Mark
82.
Williams here. We've said that he's long potting just slightly off. How will he respond? Because John Higgins at the moment has got eyes only for another century. Mark Williams has made 10 centuries in the tournament. If John Higgins can make one here, then he'll equal that.
83.
And it'll be the 81st of the tournament. And of course, it's John Higgins who holds the record for century breaks made in the World Championship, 14.
90.
And the thing is about him, John,
92.
once he gets on this roll, he can reel off big breaks one after the other, no problem.
$95. $99.
Just this blue for another fabulous century. Well played, John Higgins.
104.
Absolutely wonderful. He's really starting to hit it good now, that's for sure. It's there, absolutely wonderful from John Higgins. Another century, break of 117.
117 in the frame.
At last,
John
he's clawed
Higgins.
it back. It's 7-all.
I've spoken about Mark Williams' technique in the before and during a shot. We know all about that, but it's important also to have discipline after a shot. There's a bit of footage from a couple of frames ago in frame 13. This is Mark with the tricky red. He sort of is up. He's up too early. He doesn't finish his shot properly, as you see. Then he leaves John Higgins this long red. Watch the difference here. John doesn't move until the white stopped and the red, and then he's up chasing. It just, you got a sense of how confident he was when he was playing it. As I say, here's the shot that Mark had. I mean, it's a tough shot, but you've got to tell yourself, stay down on it as long as you can. There's an after. There's something that goes on after the shot that's really important, and John's taking that into frame 14. He's really starting to look hot, isn't he?
He sure is, Alan, and Alan loving the fact that he's got 3 tables to himself down there, doesn't he just love it? We talked about Higgins warming up, that's his 3rd century, and from Williams' point of view, a top break of 72 in this session.
Yeah, I think, you know, just John is as I say, will always try his hardest, and he seems to be coming good. That's a nice frame to win in one visit. I keep on mentioning this, but it does become important to get a roll on. And now, you know, you'd say, well, he's going to be better placed for the next 3 frames.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks, you know, he's starting to motor a bit more. His tempo is picked up. And he's starting to strike the ball with a little bit more authority. And Mark Williams needs to sort of break that rhythm a little bit. You saw him look down when he was in his chair.
15.
He knows that he's up against it now, and John is on a roll. He's got to find something himself to try and break that rhythm and stop the rot.
So 7 frames apiece, 10 centuries apiece in this championship. It couldn't be more even Stevens if it tried.
Yes, you could certainly say, Hazel, that the cream is rising to the top here. But I agree with Ken. Mark Williams has got to find something now.
I know one thing, John. Alan McManus has given us all a bad name when he's doing them demos. He never misses.
Oh, I said in the last frame that John Higgins held the record, but well, I should have known that the king of the Crucible, Stephen Hendry, had 16. Sorry, Stephen.
I'm glad you corrected that, John. He'd be throwing things at the TV.
Mark Williams looked over to John Higgins there, apologised, but apologise or not,
Mark Williams won.
Taking the opportunity to play the snooker, and he's purposely covered the right-hand side of the table as we look. He was playing this red past the green. It's all wrong. Quarter ball off the green is in the pocket. Now the reason he's cut down that was John's look, an expression. If he comes down the right-hand side of the table, he could get it safe. So he's having to come off 2 cushions here. You can always misjudge the slide off the second cushion. This isn't a certainty to get it safe. Always slide off the second cushion. Not hard enough.
Miss. Mark Williams 4.
But that line, a bit harder, he'd have left something.
Mark, thank you.
You see how it slides off that second? Oh, wow, he just had the right weight not to leave anything. I'm looking at Mark Williams and he's had an intake of breath there. He thought he was certain to be on something. It's a funny thing, I think the main thing where the game has changed, the players, because of the long potting of the players, they don't like playing thick, aggressive safeties. And John Higgins would rather play this risky red than do that. I think it's the only red he could leave is the one he's playing if he goes for the pot. And he did go for the pot, but missed it by such a way, he'll be lucky if he's not left anything.
Yeah, that's well, as far away as he's been with any pot in this session. And of course he's left Mark Williams with a straight red. It's a funny thing, John, as well, isn't it? The psychology of this game. You're playing catch up in a match and you get, all of a sudden you get level. And then it's as if your concentration drops for the next couple of shots. I mean, that wasn't an easy shot by a long stretch, but it's almost saying, oh, you say to yourself, oh, my first objective is get level. And then your concentration can go, and all of a sudden you're behind again.
8.
This is a chance now for Mark to bring other reds into play. He's played it nicely.
9.
Well, we asked the question. He's got to up a gear. Here's his chance.
$16. $17. $22. $23.
A little bit low on the black, but I don't think he'll be playing a cannon here. There's a couple of loose reds to play on.
$30.
I'm just looking at the cluster.
31.
There may be a red just below and to the right of the pink that goes to the left corner, although having a second look, I don't think it does. So 2 loose reds to play for. Needs a good line and length here. Playing for the one near the top cushion, and this looks good. Lovely line. Always you hope you're not straight.
35.
Yeah, excellent shot, but definitely the right red to play for. Type of shot you could be very
36.
positive with off the brown there, and you knew virtually guaranteeing position by hitting it firm. But nicely struck all the same.
Yeah, nice angle on the black. He'll go into him here. He wants to catch the left-hand side of him because he's got that loose red on the left of the table. He could be on. Now, have a look at
43.
Mark's face. That tells us whether he's on an easy red to keep this break going or a difficult one. He's not had much luck when he's gone into the pack
Not at
this
all.
evening.
No, and I think the pink is a problem there, John, and the pink's blocking the easy red he'd have, the one up to the right. So that doesn't go. So he has got a red into the green pocket. And maybe he can cut that one in the middle as well, so it's just his choice of how he wants to play it. That's the red.
He's walking. He's walking.
44.
He's perfect on the blue.
Well, last frame we just said how brilliant John Higgins was.
49.
To make that break of 117. So far in this break, this is class. And it's the ability
50.
when you've been frozen out or haven't seen a lot of great chances or maybe missed a couple, that when you sense danger you can go back in and have your response, and this is what this is from Mark Williams.
Yeah, he's just giving us a bit of thought. He's just run a little bit too far, so I don't think he can just roll the blue in. If he could roll the blue in and get a full ball cannon on the pink, that would hold the cue ball. If he's got to play on and off the top cushion, got to be careful. Well, he could roll it in and get the cannon on the pink.
$55. $56.
Same problem as the last time, but after this blue, he's just looking for one more red. Can't play a cannon on the pink this time.
Yeah, he's and ahed about this one for a little while. I'm surprised that's happened. He's erred a little on the side of caution there. If he'd come up further, he could have snookered
61.
himself on the red he's on now. That's what he was worried about.
This red to go 67 ahead with just 59 remaining. Good response here from Mark
62.
Williams. You just felt that if he got a chance, he had to do something with it, and fair play, that's exactly what he's done. Well, this is good stuff, isn't it?
67.
This is a great response from Mark.
Thank you.
It's just
68.
wonderful match play snooker played at the highest level. I mean, we've had one frame that's gone over half an hour. The rest of them have been pretty quick fire. Even the frames that look like they're going to all could have been resolved by good play. And both players are in really good stroke and playing really
75.
well.
Maybe an opportunity in potting this red to bring one of the two reds near the side cushion into play.
76.
Well, he's not perfect on the pink, but we know he's a master at dropping this type of shot in. He'd love to make a century. Right in the heart of the pocket. And the century's still on. They're all level, they make 10 centuries each.
82.
Can Mark Williams creep ahead once more? This could be his 11th.
83.
To that with lots of right-hand side and played it nicely.
88. '89.
And this is what you always seem to get at this game, John, don't you? Once one player starts playing well, then the other man knows there's no other way, but you've got to respond by playing well yourself. Doesn't make it any easier, but this has been superb from Mark Williams.
91. '93.
Green and brown for the 82nd century break of this year's Betfred World Snooker Championship.
'96.
And it will be Mark Williams' 11th for certain now.
Yeah.
100. And now we've got a 10 up there from Joe and Mark's son.
'105.
Doesn't get much better than this, JV.
No, this is superb. We can all play
111.
Sport, and sometimes, you know, when you do it in practice, but to do it this way in the heat of battle when his opponent has thrown down the gauntlet, and boy oh boy did Mark Williams pick it up. That was absolutely superb. As we say, the Welsh potting machine, and he knows he's back in front again. 8-7.
I've been enjoying this from the practice room. The standard's getting pretty warm out there, isn't it? There was a little shot Mark Williams played the brown with the rest being a lefty. We see it here, spins round a few cushions. As the guy said in the box, it was a brilliant way to play it, but actually it's not that difficult for a top professional. He lands nice on the red, but really it looks fancy, but it's not. I'm going to play a similar, although I'm right-handed, but playing round for this red, I'm going to try and get 4 cushions. Try and knock this in, but there's only really one place the cue ball can finish. All right, so round it comes. For a professional player, it's actually quite an easy shot. You can see they're decent on the red. Piece of cake.
Oh, it's easy for you to say, but I tell you what, this is soundproofed obviously in here, but I suspect that Mark Williams might have been able to hear you. Pick your act up. You said he's got to get moving, and he has.
You know, he had to get moving. He had to find something, and boy, did he find something. And that was a wonderful break because there were some great shots in that break. He wasn't perfect all the way through, but he potted a great red up into the green pocket. Then he potted a lovely long blue under pressure up into the yellow pocket, and just kept the break going. He had to find something, and he's found something. It's a fantastic response.
I'm more interested in the fact that all of a sudden there's a new kid on the block in the demos. Alan Manus' demos, and Ken, you're going to have to up your game.
I think we all are.
Exactly. He's never missing, is he? But in terms of back-to-back centuries we just had in this match, that's the 4th century. This is absolutely top quality now. It really is warming up.
There was the fear, the danger that the two players had punched themselves out, that possibly they were just going to freeze a little bit in the final because of the gravity of what they could possibly do. But I think we're now seeing they're class players. Yeah. The first session was a bit more nip and tuck, and now all of a sudden they're opening their shoulders out. They're going to have a slugfest, and tomorrow is going to be brilliant.
I think it is. That was the 82nd century. Remember, we've got 86 is the record. We talked about the fact that there's only ever been 8 in one match. It's happened 3 times, in fact, and most recently with Ronnie O'Sullivan against Barry Hawkins in that 2013 final. Do you think we've got a sniff of that?
Oh, absolutely. It's well within range, and if these two guys are going to play the way they've been playing these last few games, there's no reason why it can't go. I mean, it's only another 5 centuries to get in, you know, so many frames. It's well within reach, I would feel.
And what the top players like these lads can do, they respond very well to the other player.
Yeah.
If it gets scrappy, they can scrap. But if one sort of pots and makes a century, but the other guy goes, oh, I can make one of those. They do have a little bit about them.
Thank you.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Mark Williams has not been in a Crucible final for 15 years. It's like he's never been away.
John Higgins to break.
John Higgins, just before he was breaking off, was asking the referee how many frames they got to play. Well, this one and one more. And yeah, Alan McManus looked very good in the practice table there, but potting the brown at that pace using a rest was a bit more difficult. Can get through to this, and if he pots it, the black's available into the opposite corner. This is a similar type of straight pot that John Higgins knocked in to win a frame in the opposite corner. Calls for good straight cueing. Well, he decided to roll it, did Mark, and that double kiss will leave a pot on for John.
Yeah, played it in a way. The only way he could really get in trouble was a double kiss. You see from Mark's expression, that's exactly what happened. So, chance for John. And the way these two have been going at it for the last few frames, this could be a very heavy contribution. It's been brilliant stuff.
Yeah, it's basically, as you say, the last few frames have just been one mistake snooker. You make one mistake, you go back to your seat, and you'll be lucky to get back to the table.
Seven.
Wonderful shot from our jib there. Coming down over the scene at the Crucible Theatre. Everyone engrossed with this match, and why not?
12.
I agree with Steve. He said, you know, sometimes you think been hard getting to the final. They've had tough semi-finals. Well, they'd be a little bit punched out, but these two, you don't become two old warriors if you don't know what to do. And they certainly know what to do.
Yeah, and also I think we've got to take into account that even though what they've achieved in the game, it must be a dream come true for them to be in this final and playing one another. I was talking to Jason, John Higgins, his brother, and he said he remembers the first time they played. It was 28 years ago in this
20.
junior world final. That's how long they've been battling it out against one another.
Yes, I was walking around then after
21.
playing a match in that particular tournament and bumped into Ronnie O'Sullivan. I said, "Oh, you're in the final, anything?" So, no, he said, "I lost to a boy from Scotland called Higgins." He said he's pretty good. And he beat Ronnie 3-2 in the semi-final, and then he beat Mark Williams 6-1 in the final. So they knew all about him fairly quickly. And that's a player he's gone on to be.
Yeah, and a clever shot there.
28.
Knew if he cannoned that red four in the face, it would open other reds. Okay, the red is on now. He may not be able to play for the black. 41 points more needed from this situation to get to snooker's required.
$29.
Just about got the angle on the blue, but just looking at it, there's only one loose red to play for. When he went into them before, he only knocked one red out, really. Just coming round to have a look, see if there's any possibility of a plant. I mean, if he's got enough angle, he could decide to force this blue in and come round off two cushions and play a cannon, but I don't know whether he'd fancy that. No, Also playing for the red in the middle, unless there's a red in that cluster that will go. Can't see one.
Yeah, he just put his cue down on the table there. He's looking for an angle somewhat level with the black would be perfect, and then a stun up into the pack. So he's played
35.
it down off the 2 angles, and that's away. Well, at least to guarantee you've got an angle going in. Could have done with a little bit more on the cue ball. But whatever you do with this shot, make sure you knock the black in.
That's the gap he's looking for. Oh, he's missed the black. Where's the red ball going? Well, it doesn't matter.
Higgins,
That
35.
could be very costly for John Higgins. How many times do we see it playing with pace, thinking about the cannon? Just take your eye off the pot, only a fraction. And it looked as though it was safe until the black came and released the cue ball.
I think Mark's got what we call a big pocket here. Can't really miss this one, being off the other one if it doesn't go straight in.
One.
So how much of a mistake will that black be from John Higgins? It's just a funny shot, John. That's why I called it before he played it. I said, whatever you do, don't miss the black, because just when it's a little bit more of a cutback than you think, and you're trying to play the cannon.
7.
I've seen them missed time and time again.
Yeah, and at that pace that you need to break the reds open, you've got to be right in the heart of the pocket. And he wasn't. It was a fraction out. And now he's going to sit there and suffer. And this is a great chance for Mark Williams. Remember, Mark's in stroke, made a 118 break in the last frame.
8.
And of course, John, if he wins this frame, absolutely guaranteed to be in the lead coming into tomorrow's 2 important sessions. And he'll also, if he wins this frame, have a bite of the cherry for an even bigger lead with the last frame of the evening. 9 played in this session.
$14. 50.
If it had been straight there, I'd like to have held a spot. Has he? Yes, he has.
21.
Given the opportunity to play on these 2 reds without being hampered by the pink.
22.
If it had gone on its own spot, that is.
$28.
It's funny how a game
29.
can turn around. We were questioning that maybe Mark Williams' long potting wasn't quite on it tonight, but the 2 chances, this frame and the last one, he's been left right in amongst the balls. Makes a difference.
Yeah, and his cue ball, when he's been in, John, has been on a sixpence.
35.
It's been that good.
36.
Yeah, the long pot success from both players is well below what you'd expect. 25% John Higgins, 33% from Mark Williams. As I say, and we always say, if you miss when you're in, then you can
42.
only expect the worst.
Most definitely at
43.
this level, that's for sure. That's not the worst kiss on the brown. He wouldn't have been playing for a cannon there. And the fact he's hit it virtually full ball towards the pocket is lovely.
Right now, he needs a good positional shot on the colour.
47.
Was able to hold
48.
for the brown or green. Good shot.
52.
He can go up for a baulk colour if he should so wish here, because he won't need the blue. And that
53.
blue being close to black, that could have been a problem, but that's not the case. 18 points of the lead, just yellow. And then yellow and green, and snookers will be required.
Yep. I think we had the temerity to
55.
question whether Mark Williams was going to step it up this evening. Well, since it's gone 7-all,
57.
we found out our answer, John. He's been absolutely superb, and John Higgins, when he's made the mistake, has just had to sit and suffer. And Mark's just walked round and floating balls in. And once again, a wonderful response, and there's certainly nothing wrong with his nerve. That's still intact, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think that is the word, nerve, from both players. As we say, it's all right doing it in practice. It's not in, but it won't matter.
Mark
There's
Williams,
29 points
64
in front,
and the frame.
18 remaining, not a concession from John Higgins. So Mark Williams now takes a 2-frame advantage. 1 to go.
And as John was saying, he's guaranteed an overnight lead now. And in the grand scheme of the final, how important is that? It can work both ways, obviously, and you guys have experienced it both ways. But for you, Ken, how important is it?
I think it is when you're going to bed and you know you've got the lead and you have the sort of the edge going into the next session. But as we've seen in the semi-finals as well, I don't think it really matters for John Higgins because he's so good at coming from behind. And anyway, as is Mark Williams. When it was put up to Mark Williams tonight, he's responded magnificently, and John Higgins will do the same. It's just getting the little edges here and there and the fractions that make such a difference. I mean, John Higgins missed an easy black off the spot going into the pack. Mark duly pounced, and sometimes those frames can make all the difference in the long run.
And those are the ones that can really hurt you as well, surely?
Yeah, they can. They're debilitating. You get on a roll, and all of a sudden you drop one of those in. It's sort of back to square one. It's like going up a snake. Yeah, they're down the snakes. But if you were trying to get a clue as to who was going to be the favourite for the final from the semi-finals, you'd have thought the way that John Higgins closed out Karen Wilson was a clue that John Higgins was playing better snooker, because it looked like Mark Williams struggled to get over the line. It was very nervy. But you just know that every match is different, and I think Mark Williams will be the happier of the two, how he's coped with today. John will have a few sort of worries about the fact he hasn't won every frame in one visit when he's been given a chance, but standard's been so good, and it's a long day tomorrow. They've got to fight hard.
They have indeed. What will be the margin of Williams' advantage? Let's find out.
On the face of it, decent enough break-off shot. Don't think John will be taking the pot on here, just a containing safety. Well, that red that's just flicked off the cluster, it may be a tempter for Mark to cut to the right middle. Cue ball close to the corner, but it's okay, and he's got an angle on the yellow.
Yeah, brilliant pot, John. Absolutely brilliant, and he's just caught the jaws, and he's actually left him perfect.
So first chance to Mark Williams. He won the first session of this match by 5 frames to 3. This session, it's 4-all. Chance to win the session as we close in on the 4.5 hour Mark for this match. But winning this session, after winning the first, he'll go in overnight with a 3-frame advantage.
Yeah, Mark just pointing his cue there. That gap he's looking at, he's got obviously this red. If he could stun, play for pink and come down, he'd love to get that red away from the black.
4.
I don't know whether he's got the angle to do it now, but he's gone pretty straight, so we're doing off this shot.
I'm not certain whether the pink spot is available. No, it's not. So just to remind you, when all the other spots are occupied, it goes as close to its own spot as it can in a direct line with the middle of the top cushion.
I bet you, it's not going to happen here, John, but I bet you'd love that pink to be able to be potted.
10.
Because that would be the one he'd play and go straight into the pack, but it's not worked out that way, the way they are. So back up for blue. Half ball angle, if he can.
11.
Yeah, he's not had much luck with this shot tonight, has he? But here we go.
He's come a little bit close to the cushion there. He's got to jack the cue up in the air. Tougher to get power in this. Yeah. Much tougher shot being near the cushion, that.
Yeah, as you say, striking
16.
down, and of course, he'd be making certain that he didn't miss the blue. Just playing safe off the red, just to the left of the black. He doesn't want to open them up.
Mark Williams, 16.
It was always going to be difficult, particularly with the black only available into one corner pocket. John can get past the green, needs a telling safety here. It's a bit pacey. That's why it's come on and off the baulk cushion. And there's a red on the left-hand side of the table that will tempt Mark Williams.
Once again, John, though, you mentioned earlier, once he's been in amongst the balls, he's been great, but missed a couple of these this evening. I mention it like it's a gimme, but they're not. But you'd expect Mark Williams, the way he's cued in this championship, to knock these in. And that is the only department at the minute that's not firing on all cylinders. Everything else is great.
Yeah, so it just shows you those stats we show you about long pot success in this session. And he didn't have to do anything with a cue ball. He'd have been perfect on pink or black, and he's a little bit taken aback by it. Is John Higgins playing a double here? Once again, as I say, the problem with the double, if they don't go in, you don't know where the red's going to finish. He thought he was playing as a shot for nothing. He may well have not left this red. Played the cut, got the cut, but not a good kiss on the yellow. This was very thin. And a better kiss. You've been okay. Well, if he's playing the pot on the brown, this is a brave shot to take on.
Mark Williams 1.
Well, here's another double that John Higgins will be playing for certain.
Yeah, just coming round to have a look to see what position is going to be. Could be a stun down for the black. Don't think the pink pots from that side of the table. Very close.
Yeah, he's usually very good at doubles, but they're just not finding the pocket this evening. So close. And has he left a pot for Mark? Wouldn't have thought so. He wouldn't have played the double if he had it done. No. Mark just playing the safety.
Quite right too. I mean, not only is it the correct shot, he's 9-7 up. He doesn't have to go chasing anything. It's John Higgins who's under the cosh at the minute.
Yeah, this is a big psychological frame, I believe, because when John was trailing 4-0 and 5-1, if you'd have said, right, okay, you're going to finish the first day just one frame behind, he'd have been over the moon. But Mark Williams will have something to say about that.
Yes, John, and also the fact that when you've got to 7-7, you'd be really disappointed to be 10-7 down overnight.
Yep.
Foul.
Well, that's always on.
John Higgins 7.
That was always a possibility. I mean, Mark's thinking, well, what's the odds of knocking the black in? But there you go. But is there anything that will tempt John Higgins? He's just looking to see if he plays this red on the right-hand side of the table. Would this red be the only one he leaves, should he miss it? But it's a big shot to take on in a big frame.
Well, he's gone for it. And he may live to regret that decision. Always a possibility with that shot. When you play it like that and it hits the jaws, 9 times out of 10 it runs and goes across to the other corner. So another chance for Mark Williams. Not straightforward, of course.
7.
Gonna have to open that cluster, but he'll be trying as hard as he possibly can for that 10-7 lead overnight.
Yes, and no reason not to play the cannon now. Just played a gentle one. You'd probably be thinking maybe I should have hit it a little bit firmer, because he's not really
15.
developed that many reds here. But wherever lead he builds on here, it'll be a good one.
60.
And mainly because of that red tied up by the brown. John Higgins gets a chance if he comes to the table 40 or 50 behind. He certainly can't win the frame in one visit. So I'm into play for this red to right middle. Just
23.
looking for another 27 points from this position, but it's not a given. This could be the key shot. He'll go for this full-blooded. Now, you need plenty of topspin on this to get the arc on the cue ball.
First glance, it's no good. You never really know when you split reds up like that, but you could have hoped he'd been on something simpler. .41 the lead. Is it time to play a safety? Take what you've got. 9-7 up, 41 in front. Is it time for a bit of prudence from Mark Williams? Don't blame him taking his time here. Shot time's just gone over a minute.
Well, what do you think he's thinking of, John?
I think he was thinking originally, John, of trying to clip the red in the middle pocket and come round and make. He's come behind, and he knows that if he plays it and comes around the other side of the black, he'd be leaving one in the middle that he's trying to pop that red in. So maybe he's decided on a double, which he has. But has he left a red on the right-hand side? And if he's left that red into the middle, which he can be stunned in onto the pink, he's played a poor shot.
Yeah, the way he turned in disgust when going back to his seat tells me that this red is on. But there's pressure on it, because John Higgins knows, should he miss it, that will be end of frame. He can't win the frame at this visit, you wouldn't have thought, particularly with that, as I mentioned earlier, that red near the brown, but he can get right back in it if he can pot this. Big, big shot.
Brilliant. I'm going to dig Mark Williams out, John. You played the wrong shot there. It's not very often you can say it was poor shot selection, but he shouldn't have played the double there. He had a 41-point lead. Push a red safe on the cushion and wait. It's John Higgins chasing. No need to play this shot.
Set.
It wasn't as even he got close with the double, was it?
Yeah, and we always commend him on his choice of playing a shot for nothing, but he got that one wrong. As I say, I can't see John Higgins winning the frame at this visit, but if he minds his work, he'll be right back in it. Good positional shot there. Still
30.
28 points behind.
.40.
Perfectly played.
21.
He'll have no thought about the red near the brown. He just looked at it actually and pulled his face. Because it's not one of those situations where you feel as though you could hit the red because you could knock the brown in. So what I'd be doing now, 20 points behind, just close the gap and then see if you can play a good safety off that last red.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, because it's a perfect plant, those two.
22.
So it's virtually impossible to get that red out unless you hit both cushion first and into the brown. But even then, you have to hit 100 mile an hour to split them and get the ball into a potable position. So there's nothing he can do. I think it's take what there, try and leave the cue ball when you're on that red on the ball cushion and just clip off it and come down and try and play a safety. Can't see anything else.
Now within 13 points.
28. 29.
As I say, as you say, you could do it coming off the baulk cushion, but it's very risky. He's got the perfect angle on the black just to roll it in and finish up on the red to the right middle.
Well, he had a look a second ago, John, didn't he, to try and leave that angle off the second last red. But surely, if he gets the cannon, he is going to knock the brown in. Can't see any other result.
Well, as you say, he'd have to come off the baulk cushion
36.
to get the cannon. He can't hit the red direct because, as you say, almost certainly the brown will go in. Just 5 points behind now.
Foul. John Higgins, 36.
That had to happen.
Mark Williams, 4.
Things
Quiet
that
down,
happen
please. Thank you.
in the heat of battle.
Yes, two wonderful exponents of this sport, and you've seen two shots that are hard to explain. Mark Williams attempted a double, and John Higgins' attempt to get that out. It could only be one result playing it that
way.
10 points the lead. Still needs a good shot to get good position on the yellow. And with it being very close to the cushion, needs a good angle on the yellow to get on the green. Found a beautiful line and a wonderful length.
8.
Quick glance at the scoreboard, 17 points the lead. Still needs yellow, green and brown for a 3-frame advantage overnight.
Absolutely wonderful, but the shot to the yellow could not have been played any better. To leave that angle, and then that yellow was a lot better than it looked. What a brilliant frame of snooker to finish the evening. It's a fabulous
30.
final, and this has been a fabulous final frame of it in this session.
Yeah, not the icing on the cake for John Higgins, but what a marvellous 9 frames we witnessed this evening. It's had everything. It's had absolutely
70.
everything. And this Crucible audience are completely enthralled with it, as we are.
22.
So it's Mark Williams who won the opening session, and he's going to win this session just by the odd frame, but it'll give him a 3-frame advantage at the end of day 1. Marvellous snooker, absolutely top draw. John Higgins will be disappointed. Looked like he could get within 1, but Mark Williams, when he was asked to, produced. Overnight, he leads by 10 frames to 7.
What a day. 4 centuries, huge swings of momentum from 5-1 to 7-all, and 2 of the game's greatest. But it's Williams who takes a 3-frame advantage going into day 2 of this year's Betfred World Championship final. And gentlemen, what a day we have had. This is shaping up as truly one of the classics, Steve.
Yeah, an astonishing last frame as well, with John Higgins knocking that brown in, which looked like a sort of schoolboy error in many ways. I think perhaps he overhit it. If he had hit it softer, he might have got a nice flick off the brown, but what do you reckon there, Ken?
Yeah, I just thought that he was trying to hit it so hard that he might thought that the brown would jangle and stay over the pocket, but I thought he had to hit the brown first, because if he hits the red, it look a dead set plan. And I was very surprised the way he played it, but crucial frame, and what a clearance from Mark Williams. You know, the black to yellow, get it on nice, and then the yellow to green. It's been a sensational session of snooker.
I know one thing, be hard to get to sleep.
Yeah.
Replaying that shot over and over again.
yeah,
But one thing I think today has sort of shown me is that I knew that John Higgins could win this final. I wasn't so sure about Mark Williams, but I think this has shown that I was wrong. Yeah, that Mark Williams can win this match. He looks really assured.
He does indeed, and actually a remarkable performance considering how jaded he must have been. I mean, he was in this kebab shop at 2:30 in the morning. Attention, all Sheffield kebab shops, by the way. He might be on his way now for
I'll tell
more
you
fuel.
what, John Higgins want to know what kebab shop he went to, because he might be going there tonight.
But hats
himself.
off to him, really, for that performance, when he must have been shattered after that Hawkins win last night.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're not necessarily going to sleep straight away anyway, so perhaps he did the right thing. You know, and how much sleep do you need. You know, perhaps you got to bed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, you woke up at 11, something like that. That's okay.
OK, 10-7. John Higgins was 10-7 up on Mark Selby last year and was caught. But he was 10-7 behind against Trump in 2011, the last time he won this, and won.
Yeah.
It can go either way, clearly. He'll know that.
Yeah, I think the good thing for John Higgins, he was scoring very, very well, and he'll want a fast start tomorrow. But I mean, it's shaping up for a magnificent climax to the final tomorrow. Both players in top form.
And what actually happens? OK, so at the end of that session, it's a reset, right? John has put a lot of effort into that session. He's not got as much result as he wanted. It's a reset, but he starts again tomorrow. It'll be another big push. And if he has to wait till the last one for a big push, he can do that. OK, we're so looking forward to 2 sessions tomorrow. And don't forget that that's at 2 o'clock is the first one, and then at 7 o'clock. So we've got your bank holiday Monday all worked out. Put the shelf up, do the spring cleaning and the gardening in the morning, and then settle down with us from 2 o'clock. You will have earned it. But who will earn the right to call themselves the 2018 World Champion? Well, I don't know, but I do know there is an awful lot of life left in this final with our over 40s. I hope you've enjoyed it. We certainly have, and we'll catch you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.